Arizona Gameday. The pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're counting down to tip-off of Arizona basketball. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Runner is up, no good. A walk to the offensive rebound, put it up and roll it in. Knocked away, saved by Bradley. Bradley, the bucket jam at home.
Sees the parting of the ways.
Caleb, bounce pass, nice one to Awaka. Throw it inside, Carter Bryant will slam it home. Ball loose, taken away by KJ Lewis. Arizona on the run. KJ into the lane, throw it up over his head and score it. Oh my. Top Basar, who was placed Awaka. Backdoor to Love, who slams it home. Bradley for the Wildcats, feed it right corner. There's Basar open for three. That rolls around and goes in for Henry Basar.
Henry's having a game.
And that's a new career high for Basar.
It was a scoring fest, to say the least. In the home finale senior night at McHale Center, the Arizona Wildcats putting up 113 points in beating the rival Sun Devils 113-100. And now it is on to the road. It is basketball Saturday in Lawrence, Kansas, as the Arizona Wildcats arrive for their first time as a Big 12 team to play in legendary Phog Allen Fieldhouse against the Kansas Jayhawks. Well, about 3 or 4 months ago, we thought maybe, just maybe, this could be a matchup of top 10 teams in college basketball. It has not necessarily played out that way, especially for the Jayhawks, who are unranked for the first time in a long time. The stretch, I think it was 80-plus weeks they had been in the AP Top 25 until dropping out recently. And the Wildcats, who began this season as the number 10 team in the country, Kansas was number 1. They have obviously had some struggles in the preseason that dropped them out of the top 25. They got back into it with a long win streak. I believe got as high as, what was it, maybe 11 again in the country before now falling back after some struggles in recent weeks and a few losses to the likes of Houston and to the likes of BYU. The Wildcats have fallen back down to number 24 in the country. But still, it is going to be an exciting afternoon of college basketball with two of the teams that across the country have had a ton of success over the course of the last 30 years. Welcome to Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day on this Saturday morning. My name is David Kelly, joined as always by the captain, Kelvin Efon. He is here. We have also got none other than J.W. Madden in the house as well. Arizona taking on the Kansas Jayhawks after this win over the Arizona State Sun Devils. Henry Basar was asked after that ball game if he felt like 113-100. I mean, it had the score of an NBA game. Did it feel like an NBA game?
Yeah, it was a high-scoring game, but it did not. It felt like a college basketball game. They made a lot of shots. We made a lot of shots.
Yeah, and also Tommy Lloyd was asked that same question.
I've never coached an NBA game, so you're asking me to right away to live in hypotheticals. I don't know. I think it was just the lack of turnovers. You know, I would be interested to see what the possessions ended up at, but like neither team turned the ball over, and both shot the ball pretty well and shot a lot of free throws, and yeah, that makes for a high-scoring game.
But the defensive performance, what were your thoughts on it for you guys?
Well, obviously we don't want to give up 100 points, and it's got to be better. But you know, we had this game, the same game, against them 2 years ago here, where they hit a bunch of what I would consider like tougher shots, but you know, they've always been capable of making tougher shots and shots off the dribble and some tough threes, and you know, they kind of have a knack for, you know, pulling a few of those out of the hat a couple times a year. And you know, they did it at Texas Tech, they did it here, you know, this year. But we had that game against them 2 years ago, and you know, and our guys, I don't know if we panicked or whatever happened, but they kept it close, and gave themselves a chance to win at the end, and they threw in that 60-footer. So I was feeling that, but I was hoping our team, I just kept telling them, hey, there's lots of ways to win a game. You can win a game, with a huge run in the first half sometimes. You can win a game, obviously you want to win them at the end. But you can also win them with 16, 12, 8 minutes to go. So we just needed to keep finding that opportunity. When was going to be our moment? We were going to make the push to win the game. And finally, about 4 or 5 minutes to go in the game, we made that push. So, I'm proud of our guys for hanging with it and not letting it come down to the last possession.
Great point there, I thought, guys, by the head coach, Tommy Lloyd, in talking about, there weren't a lot of turnovers in this game. Both teams under 10 turnovers in that game. And when you have two teams that don't turn the ball over and two teams that shoot 50%, you can easily find yourself in a game in the 100s.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, clean first half for Arizona. No turnovers for Arizona in the first half. No turnovers for ASU in the second half. I don't know, Kelvin, what you saw out there reviewing that film, but there definitely were some animated closeouts by Arizona at times, and other times when maybe they lagged a tiny bit behind the screener, that kind of thing, going up against a team who's out without their leading scorer, who had been dismissed, and obviously struggling down the stretch. I don't know if that score, if they played 10 times, I don't think ASU gets over 90 more than one of those times. That was just one of those really awkward games, super clean, not a lot of runouts, not a lot of steals for Arizona. And ASU hit some shots, and that's why you saw that score. And it's the most important thing Coach said there was 2 years ago they let him stick around, hit a 35-footer, they won the game. This time they had separation throughout all of that. So that's why the score was a little bit not what Arizona fans wanted to see, but they did get the separation enough. There was really no doubt that they would win that game.
Yeah, and ASU have been playing well. They've been playing tough. They've been playing teams real tough with the guys that they have. They've lost guys all throughout the season, and these guys are guys that Bobby recruited kind of similar to his attitude, and they just had their back against the wall, and they were scrapping. I mean, you have to respect your opponent. I mean, sometimes, I think people think that you can just go in and just dismantle people. No, these guys play basketball. They're Division I players also, and as long as there's a three-point line, as long as there's a three-point line where they don't have to go to the basket and dunk every shot, because if we had to go to the basket and dunk every shot, Arizona would probably win every one of those games. We were one of the bigger, most athletic teams in the country. But one thing about basketball that's always fair is that once that team scores, you have a chance to play your offense and do your thing. So I just think Bobby came in with a great game plan. You also have to remember that it was senior night. Senior night. The emotions are all over the place. Your concentration is all over the place. Parents are there. Friends, all kind of stuff. I mean, and, of course, coach could pump you up to get ready for ASU, but at the end of the day, it's ASU, right? B.J. Freeman was gone, so that took away a little bit of the fire, right? Because that could have added a little spice to it, right? That, him and Caleb, looking forward to going. So he's gone now. So that whole little thing was over. Bobby shook hands at the end, right? Come on. So I just feel like
the beginning.
Yeah, you heard me? So I just feel like that, yeah, man, those guys just came in and played their hearts out. Arizona did what they needed to do to win. Of course, you want them to play better defense. We saw them play better defense for the majority of the season versus better teams. So I just think it's just one of them things, as J-Dub said, both teams, did a great job taking care of the ball.
Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Calvin Efon, J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. We've got you until 2 o'clock today as we cross you over into the afternoon for a tip-off that's going to be at 2:30. Let's let you know what we've got coming up for you on today's show.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
In our next segment, we'll preview the Kansas Jayhawks. It is your first look at the game, brought to you by Window Depot. Our spotlight on a cat. Had a chance to chat with Anthony Delorso, junior guard, transfer from Campbell. Best three-point shooter on the Arizona Wildcats team this season, percentage-wise. We'll talk to Anthony about his first year here in Tucson. Your scouting report, Henry Greenstein from the Lawrence Journal-World will join us and update you on everything happening with the struggling Jayhawks. Who will be that Jayhawk that gets underneath the Wildcats' skin today? It's your Pest of the Game, brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control, who were here this morning, and they might still be here making sure that we don't have termites.
They are right
in our
outside my
building.
window, DK. They're literally right outside the window
I let
right
them
now.
in. I let them in onto the campus here today.
We need to get somebody to get those coyotes. They look at those coyotes every night. The 100 coyotes.
Right? We got coyotes here, but they're friendly. J-Dub goes out and feeds them on occasion.
I've never. Okay, for the record, anybody listening, I've never once fed the coyotes. That's illegal.
Okay.
I've never fed the coyotes
Never,
ever.
never.
That's illegal.
Is it? Oh, I did not know
Yes.
that. Is
Do
that
not
illegal?
feed coyotes.
Okay.
We put water out for the birds. Well, cricket does.
Okay.
But no, there's no feeding going on.
All right.
They're deep.
Your lines tonight for the Desert Diamond Casino Sportsbook. Arizona getting 4 points tonight at Phog Allen, or this afternoon at Phog Allen Fieldhouse. Your over-under is 154 and a half. 22 points, a career-high 22 points for Henry Vasar in the win over the Arizona State Sun Devils on a Tuesday night at McHale Center. Henry on his best game scoring-wise as a Wildcat.
He actually threw in a big-time right-hand jump hook at a crunch.
My teammates were finding me on easy shots. They were finding me down low. I got a couple offensive rebounds that helped me get easy buckets, so that's about it.
Yeah, and again, just a fabulous outing by Henry, just not on the scoring side, but just his all-around game in that contest, from rebounding the ball to assisting the basketball. Tommy Lloyd on the big man's performance.
He actually threw in a big-time right-hand jump hook at a crunch time, which to me was the most impressive basket of the day. He made a big three in the corner that kind of went in, out, in, which was huge. And then I thought we had control of the game, and he shot another one. And I told him, you better make that one. I mean, that time we're probably thinking about running a little bit of clock and things like that. So, but yeah, Henry's continued to play well, and I'm proud of his progress.
22 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 block shots. Coach talked about that basket in the paint. That was when ASU had cut the lead down to 3 points. And so the Wildcats desperately needed a basket to kind of stem the tide there. And Jaden with a little dump down to Henry, and he took it physically into the middle and put it up over his defender to get the bucket, push that lead back to 5. And I think that started about a 6-zip run that allowed the Wildcats to get back up to 9 pretty quickly. So Henry Vasar making big baskets and playing extremely well at both ends of the floor for Arizona.
Yeah, Phillips was in foul trouble. Walker did a great job being aggressive with him early. And so I thought coming off the bench, Henry was being very aggressive. And, again, making those shots and understanding that ASU was undersized. The guys, as you said, Jaden Bradley got the ball to him as a point guard should, understanding that the team is small. You're going to play a lot of those type of teams when you get into the NCAA tournament, and you have to understand to use your advantages, and you get those guys in foul trouble, and you get them out the game so they can't hit 12 threes in the game against you.
Yeah, it was all JB, too. JB and Vasar. It was a Vasar dunk assisted by JB. Then it was a JB jumper. Then it was a Vasar jumper assisted by Jaden Bradley. So those three, that two-man game, Kelvin, especially when Jaden Bradley's got that mid-range going and Vasar's rolling strong at the rim, it's tough to stop. You get, Caleb Love coming at you full speed for 30 minutes of the game, and then all of a sudden for a 5-minute stretch, it's just Jaden Bradley and Vasar two-man game, and they basically, like DK said, I mean, that was with the dunk happened with 8:22 left in the game after they had cut it to 8. So they were getting into the game, and Vasar and Bradley took over down the stretch.
Now, 100 points, obviously, for the Arizona State Sun Devils. Probably a few more than many people had anticipated were going to be on the board for the visitors, who came in having lost 7 of 8 games. Toby Awaka on what some of those issues were defensively.
I thought effort was good. Just a few, communication things, especially on the ball screen. Know when to overswitch, know when the big is going to stay, when the guard is going to rotate over, things like that. And then also, when we trap the ball screen, making sure that our full rotations are covered, and, we communicate on that too. So just a few, schematic and logistical things, I would say. But I thought our effort was definitely there.
Yeah, Henry Vasar kind of added on to that the Wildcats threw a number of things defensively at ASU to try to slow them down.
They made a couple of shots and they just got downhill, so we kind of just needed to make adjustments. as being on their body, being better with our communication, because we definitely messed a couple things up. When we're in two coverage, we didn't have our alpha beta down low, so we kind of need to improve with that.
And one other thing that needs to be improved, says Tommy Lloyd, is, well, at least Toby said this. He said that during his time at the dais after the ball game was that this defense needs to communicate better. And Tommy Lloyd was asked about that.
Toby's on the floor, so I'm going to trust he's right. Obviously, it's 3 out of 4 games where teams have played pretty well offensively against us. So we got to figure out, is there a code that's been cracked? Is it a little bit the code being cracked and a little bit of bad luck? Sometimes they just make the shot, right? So we got to dig a little deeper and look into it.
Coach Kelvin, can you please explain to listeners out there? I mean, defense is 1 part effort, 2 parts communication. Communication is everything when it comes to defense, especially at this level when you don't have the individual all NBA, all world type of athletes. You have to be able to, hey, what side is the screener? Is the shooter coming off? I mean, you have to really be able to talk to the guys and trust the guys next to you. Communication, Kelvin Yufon, how important at this level for defense?
I mean, if you don't, you're going to end up getting sent home early. And you're going to watch it with the mid-major teams, the guys that are 26, 27 years old. Those guys really communicate. They understand how important it is to cover each other's backs. And I think sometimes when you have a group of guys that kind of just got together and still figuring it out, I mean, at the end of the season, you hate to kind of say that, but Trace Townsend just now getting back into the starting lineup for 1 game. Is he going to be in the starting lineup next game? We don't know, right? So, again, Waka, you got still there also. You still got guys trying to figure things out. And so I think, to me, that's the biggest thing on defense, making sure that you're cool enough with the next guy to be able to tell him, get up, switch. I mean, get over there, being able to yell, because you got to yell a little bit. It's pretty loud in the gym. Don't take it personal when I yell at you, bro. It's loud in here, and I'm trying to make sure you hear me, our teammates hear me, the coach hear me, and the offense, DK. When you say, get the backside, get up. That kind of, when you're an offensive player, you hear that guy. And so it makes you stunt for a half a second, and it gives you the opportunity to get back up. So you have to talk to each other and to the defense, right? And so, and then the other thing I have to say is this. The other thing about ASU is it was Alton Mason, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He played 40 minutes. They had a senior guy who's been through ups and downs. This was his NCAA tournament game versus Arizona. He came to Arizona State more than likely to play Arizona, right? And this was his one chance. He put it all in one opportunity and had the game of his life. If we double him, we play him a little bit better, we force the ball out of his hands, I don't know if they play as well, but he had 6 assists, 30 points. I mean,
0 turnovers.
0 turnovers. So you cut that in half. It's a different game. But, again, I don't think we did anything special to try to stop him, J-Dub, right?
No.
Like we didn't try to double him. I think Coach just played it out and just played their style of play.
The one thing I will say is I think that the big reason it was a 113-100, guys, this might seem counterintuitive, but it's because the refs were calling a lot of ticky-tack stuff. Then it's hard to get a flow, a defensive flow. We're talking offensive flow. I mean, look, the 113-100, I mean, what did the U of A shoot, 58%? Yeah, 59% from the field for the game against ASU. But when you've got 23, that's 48 fouls called in the game, that defensive intensity, Kelvin, when you're coming time and time out and you're not sure if you get your hand in there, if it's going to be a foul or whatever, and you're trying to stay in the game. So the way the refs were calling that game in a lot of ways led to the score that we saw at the end.
70 free throws between the two teams, and they both shot the free throws well. 84% for ASU and 80% for U of A. So then that was both above their averages. So that'll also lead to a high-scoring game for you. 22 points for Henry Vasar, we mentioned, 21 for Caleb Love, and 21 for KJ Lewis on 7 of 13 from the floor. And Tommy Lloyd liked what he saw from his sophomore guard.
In college, you're not scoring 100 points often, especially in a Big 12 game. And it's great, KJ, was, I thought he played really well. He was aggressive. He knows how teams are kind of guarding him now, and he's picking and choosing his spots pretty well. And I thought he put himself in a lot of good positions to help us out and make plays and took care of the ball. Really proud of his effort. And I thought Caleb did a good job early, kind of getting going and making sure, that we were, in the lead or in the game which is important in the first half. So just overall, I'm proud of the way we played offensively. Obviously, we want to play better defensively.
All right, it is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, Wildcats and Kansas Jayhawks this afternoon in Lawrence, Kansas. Tip-off coming up your way at 2:30. Much more straight ahead. We'll take our first look at Arizona, Kansas next here on Wildcats Radio, 1290. Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is just getting started. This is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Hour one of the pregame show is brought to you by Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Poston Results Team with Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, the Window Depot, and by Meridian Wealth Management, wealth well managed, life well lived.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rocking K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rocking K, with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
I love my weekend rides across Arizona. I travel with all the protection I need. Helmet, gloves, leathers, and the Eagle. Goldberg and Osborne. The Eagle fights hard to help injured riders across the state. Whether we're cruising through Carefree, slow riding in Sedona, or breezing through Bisbee, they find you doctors, manage medical bills, and get you back on your bike with the most money possible. Injured riding? The bird is the word. Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Honey, our yard looks like a jungle. It's full of weeds, and the neighbors are complaining,
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using just doesn't work. Not to mention, I don't have the time.
You know, it's not just the weeds. I'm also seeing ants and spiders, scorpion. I saw a scorpion, and I think there's a pack rat living in the garage.
I get it.
It's scary.
I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today and get rid of them all.
You're the best, honey.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Hi, this is Peter Costa, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange and proud member of the Advisory Business Council with Meridian Wealth Management. One thing I've learned over 40 years on the floor is the value of a trusting relationship with your financial advisor. After all, everyone is a genius when the markets are going up, but when they drop, that's when the guidance of a professional is most important. For more information about Meridian, call 719-1433 or visit online at meridianwealthllc.com.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats basketball radio broadcast. Two powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. CoolWillies.com.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. a quality vehicle at a great price, and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or royalkia.com.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden.
To Bradley, wide open three is up over the rim, no good. Offensive rebound, inside Awaka, lay it up, and that is good.
That guy just goes to work. He gets the time card, he punches it inside the lane, offensive board and put back.
15 rebounds here tonight.
Time now to take our first look at today's Arizona Wildcats men's basketball game. The first look of the game is brought to you by Window Depot. Lowest prices, biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com. Toby Awaka in that game against ASU, 15 points, 9 rebounds. That's what you want to see, him being close to a double-double. I think, and I said it on the postgame show, I think when Toby gets going early, this team is so much more dominant. That 15-rebound performance coming against the Colorado Buffaloes earlier this year for Toby Awaka, who can't wait to play at Phog Allen Fieldhouse today.
Even from like when I was in middle school, high school, I've heard it's one of the best sort of college basketball environments, and it's going to be exciting. But I think first and foremost, our goal is to win and take care of business. But I think it's definitely going to be a fun experience and environment for sure.
The experience of just playing at Iowa State this past weekend, can that help you in this next game in terms of the hostile atmosphere?
For sure. I mean, I think we've played in a bunch of hostile environments this whole season, even beginning with Wisconsin, towards the beginning of the year, and then throughout. But yeah, I think we have enough experience, and that's sort of built us up for this moment, and then also going into March as well, because the fact of the matter is we're not going to have a home game for the rest of the season, so we have to be able to play well away from home.
Forrest Claire Allen. Phog Allen. He's probably Kansas. I guess you could probably say he's Kansas's version of Fred Ink here at the University of Arizona, or maybe even Pop McHale, because he coached a number of sports at Kansas. He coached basketball, he coached baseball, he coached football but mostly basketball, where he won 746 college basketball games. Very often known as the father of basketball coaching, Forrest Claire Allen.
Surprised they didn't name it after their first coach.
Oh, that would have been Mr. James Naismith?
James Naismith was the first coach at Kansas, yes.
Another
fun fact.
Some legends.
You got Phog Allen Fieldhouse. You ever heard of Rupp Arena?
Yeah.
How about the Dean Smith Dome or the Dean Smith Center?
Right.
So Adolph Rupp and Dean Smith both played basketball at Kansas. So of the 5 Blue Bloods, 3 of their buildings are named after former Kansas basketball players.
Yeah. You mentioned James Naismith, who is largely credited with being the man who created basketball, and he coached Mr. Forrest Claire Phog Allen from 1905 to 1907 at the University of Kansas.
What's funny is that James Naismith is the only coach in Kansas basketball history with a losing record.
Okay.
They have the highest winning percentage of all time. So Kansas's winning percentage as a program is 76%. Since 1896, Kelvin, playing basketball since 1896, 140 some odd years, 76% winning percentage all time. Second best is North Carolina with 73%. So Kansas is 3 percentage points higher than the second best percentage team in the history of the game.
Phog Allen coached the Jayhawks to the national championship in 1952. They were the runner-ups a year later in 1953. Tommy Lloyd knows this is one historic venue.
I mean, listen, I'm excited to play there. It's one of the places one of the few that I haven't played at. So, but I also know that they're excited to have Arizona there. So it's senior night, and it's going to be in Lawrence, and I think it'll be a special night for all parties involved.
Indeed, it will be. 2:30 is going to be tip-off of this ball game today at Phog Allen Fieldhouse, Arizona and Kansas. Guys, want to go back to what Tommy Lloyd's last statement there at the end of the first segment. He was talking about KJ Lewis and the role that he played in that game. 21 points in the contest against Arizona State. And, Captain, we're seeing KJ Lewis, I think, in the last few weeks become a lot more aggressive at the offensive end.
Yeah, we are, man. And I think that's the recipe for success for this team. I think when I go back and look at it, Caleb Love kind of played that second point guard role with the 5 assists, with the 0 turnover, was playing off of his aggressiveness. When I watch KJ Lewis, one thing that I noticed, and we were talking about it, was that he only had 2 3-point attempts. He made 1, so he was 50%. Everything else was downhill at the bucket. Ended up going to the free throw line, I think, 9 times? It was like 6 of 8. To me, that's the KJ Lewis that we need. I think sometimes when he's at the backup point guard role, he's trying to create and get other guys easy shots, and sometimes they're playing him as a guy. When a guy's not being aggressive, you can play him to pass. So guys are jumping, passing lanes, forcing you to make tough passes or whatnot. So to me, this is the KJ Lewis that we need, playing more like a small forward, being aggressive, getting downhill, causing havoc.
Yeah, if I had to pinpoint one thing I've seen a remarkable improvement in KJ's game, it's off dribble, 2 dribbles, pull up mid range. He didn't really have that last year. And Kelvin, I mean, he's about as smooth as it gets, raising up. Obviously, we know what a great athlete he is. He's really long. He can get that shot off. It's really more, it felt like he was so rim dominant. He had to get right at the rim most times as a freshman, but he's really understanding how the congestion under there, right? Because you're talking about bigs trying to post up, Tobe's trying to get offensive rebounding position. Sometimes just a nice 12-foot, 15-foot J over the top of that defense that hasn't come quite out far enough. KJ's so much more efficient and probably the best vision on the team. I mean, if we really wanted to pick one guy as far as like his ability to find cutters and find guys in that tight space, KJ's really adept at that. So when he can get by his first line of defense, get two feet in the lane or a foot off the edge at the elbow, and be able to be a threat to rise up from there, second defender comes up, find cutters. KJ is so impactful when he can get that and doesn't settle for outside shots.
And let me give you some numbers just over the last 12 games. In the last 6 games, KJ Lewis has taken 40 free throws. In the previous 6 games to that, he took just 25. In the last 6 games, he's turned the ball over just 8 times. In the previous 6 games to that, he turned it over 20 times.
11 threes in 6 games. So 40 free throws, you said, and 11 threes, Kelvin. That's a good ratio.
How many did he shoot before that, I wondered?
Threes?
Threes.
I mean, it's not the high number I'm seeing is 4. He took 4 threes in the loss to Kansas State. It's a whole bunch of threes.
Okay.
His first game, the first game of the year against Canisius, he took 4 threes. But other than that, that's his top. And the loss to Oklahoma. So 4 is his high. Okay. But lately, I mean, the last game he took 2. Game before that 1. He's really not settling as much. It's really the field goal and the number of the free throw ratio is really what we're looking at, because that just means he's getting in there and causing havoc.
And I'll add to that, it's championship time. And anybody knows, you watch championship ball, guys get to the bucket. You only shoot threes when it's wide open. You go get high percentage bucket. You use your best athletes and go make it happen.
Kansas comes in at just 10-9 in conference play. Their point guard is DeJuan Harris Jr. What is this team's mentality? Out of the top 25 and in the middle of the Big 12 conference, a conference they used to own yearly?
We got high spirits because we know the games that we lost. We just we lost a lot of games on like the last shot plays or something, or it's like 1 minute or 2 minutes. So we're in all the games that we lost besides BYU. That game they blew us out, but all the games we've been in them, we just haven't got that stop or that rebound or whatever to secure that dub or go score or anything. So.
Again, this is a Kansas team that right now is not sitting in the top 25 for the first time in years. Tommy Lloyd, though, knows that they'll be a formidable opponent. Bill Self, on what he sees, in the Arizona Wildcats?
I think they're really talented. I think they're fast. I think Tommy's got a terrific team. You know, they got off to a rough start, and then they've been really good since they got off to that rough start. And they've lost some games in the league they could have easily won. That BYU game was an instant classic at their place. I love their personnel. I think they're really good. We picked 3 good teams to play the last 3 games. The league did us a good job on that, but you know, it's a great opportunity for us too. Obviously, Caleb is a terrific player, but he's not a one-man show by any means. They've got guys at all spots, and they've got 2 bigs that are terrific. They got 4 men that are terrific, and then athletically on the perimeter, but they're as good as anybody in our league.
They are indeed, and of course it is going to be Senior Day at Phog Allen Fieldhouse. Dwan Harris Jr. is one of those seniors. He played on their national championship team, which was just 3 years ago, and they are going to wear red jerseys today. Dwan Harris on his final game at the Phog and putting on the red to take on the Wildcats.
My last game at Allen, so I gotta go out with a bang. You know, try to play my hardest out there because, you know, I won't step on that court ever again. I've been here for 6 years, so and then it's a tradition, like you said, we don't lose on senior night, and we bringing out the red jerseys, so we don't lose in those jerseys. So we gotta get that dub. And it's a really good team, Arizona, and if we come out how we supposed to come out, we could get the dub for sure and keep that tradition alive.
Yeah, 6 years. That's a long time for sure.
He got a master's, I'm sure. Probably working toward
he better have a master's if he's been there 6 years for sure.
Speaking of a long time, Kelvin, did you hear the stat of when the last time they lost on senior night was?
Oh,
no.
Yeah, it's
80s.
been a while.
It's been 41 games, 42 consecutive senior nights they haven't lost.
Yeah, crazy stuff there. Crazy stuff there. All right, we do have some breaking news in the Big 12 coming out of Tempe this morning. Sun Devil Athletics Director Graham Rossini has announced that women's basketball coach Natasha Adair will not return next season. Coach Adair, 3 years in Tempe, but just not enough wins. 32%, 29-62, and just 7-47 in conference play. So Natasha Adair, time as coach of the Arizona State women's basketball program is over. Coming from Tempe today.
The way you said that, I think a lot of listeners who didn't know the news might have thought you were going to say a different name there.
Right?
Breaking news out of Tempe. The athletic director has just announced that the women's coach has been fired.
Yeah, little tease there.
I thought it was tough real difficult for her to recruit to ASU. Which is sometimes it's crazy to me because you think Division I in Phoenix, Tempe area, like I just don't understand sometimes why they're not better. But with that being said, she was from the East Coast. They brought her in from the East Coast.
I think she was at Penn State, I believe.
Yeah, somewhere from the East. I mean, and sometimes it's tough to lure people this far, especially young ladies. I mean, and I don't know what her NIL situation is, but I don't think it's that great, right? So I just feel like that it was a tough situation for her. She came in and gave her best effort, but this day and age, you got to be able to have a little money to battle with the big dogs with these recruits. I mean, when you're talking about women's basketball, it's not real close. The top 100 in women's basketball is way farther away from each other than it is in men's basketball.
Well, there's a lot of talk, obviously, with the Arizona women's basketball team's 1-game exit out of the Big 12. What that might potentially mean for the future of Adia Barnes here in Tucson, which we talked about this yesterday with Michael Lev, which I think is crazy talk. I mean, she's bordering on being the best coach in program history when you compare her against the woman she played for, Joan Bonvincini. So I don't know where that comes from. I get they went to a national championship game and maybe have not been able to get back to that level, but they're going to go to the postseason for a 7th consecutive year. Or they're eligible, I should say, if you take COVID into count because they would have gone to the postseason that year and didn't. And 7 straight postseasons that I think for that program drawing 7,000 people a game, that's crazy to even think that people don't believe she can do the job.
That's the big one you just said at the end there, DK. I mean, Kelvin, when we were in school, the women's team was good. But how many fans did they draw, right? Nothing close to what Adidas. Yeah, every single game. I mean, the amount of support that the programs.
Football players in there than.
Yeah, no. I remember I would go to those games back in the '90s, and I mean the amount of fan support that Adidas got now, and that the program has. Injuries and defections from last year, DK, kind of led into this year a little bit, and to me, I mean the whole contract negotiation thing has to just be a situation with Arizona's athletics department, the university as a whole, and all the changes, and obviously that huge deficit they've been dealing with, as opposed to whether or not Adia Barnes is the right person. I mean, has there ever been a more perfect person to lead a program than Adia Barnes with the Arizona women's program? I mean, it's just a perfect fit. She's great. She's great person, as you always talk about, great personality off the court. They got to get it done, Kelvin. They got to get it done.
I mean, to me, that's the one mistake that people make, man. I feel like that. You look at these schools that got tradition, they've had coaches that's been there forever, and they don't have to worry about their position because you see what they're trying to do. You understand their vision. You know that they're trying to win. I mean, anybody that see Adia, you know that she's trying to figure it out. Now, I hear people talk about her offenses and her style of play. You play with what you have. If you have great three-point shooters and great ball handlers and they're playing that way, you let that style of play. But if you don't, you figure out a way to put your team in the best position to win. And that's what she's had to do, while being here. She's had some girls that, end up transferring on and play well. But I felt like those girls, that maturity of playing here and going through obstacles and the ups and downs with Adia helped them go and play well like hundreds of other kids have done at other schools themselves. Like one of our best women's players ever, Ari McDonald, right? She came from Washington. So it happens. This is the nature of, what we're dealing with. So I just feel like, she's a former classmate. She's a former, we was here together. And hey, I ain't one of the charity case. This lady has put us in a position where people know Arizona winning women's basketball. She's right in that crowd with all the other great coaches. I just think that she needs more players and an opportunity to keep growing the players that she have. And that support, right, from not only the administration, but from us as the fans.
Yeah. Real quick on longevity, just look no further than Stanford, Kelvin. Do you hear the stats? So Tara Vanderveer left, right? They had been to 37 consecutive NCAA tournaments since 1985, and they're probably not going to make it this year. So that's 1 year removed. So, I mean, it takes a long time to build that program, but to maintain and to keep that structure and the culture more than anything else, I mean, you got to keep it going.
All right, that is Arizona, Kansas tip-off coming up at 2:30. And that's our first look at today's Arizona Wildcats men's basketball game. The first look at the game is brought to you by Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindow.depot.com. And don't forget, Window Depot also sponsors Arizona's top rebounding performance every game. It's the Window Depot Glass Cleaner of the game. Might be the Wildcat with the most rebounds. Might be the U of A star with the most impactful boards. Could be somebody from the other team. We'll tell you the Window Depot Glass Cleaner of the game coming up tonight on the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day post-game show. Much more straight ahead. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
You know it. Your neighbors know it. And let's face it, the mailman knows it too. Your yard just isn't what it used to be. But thankfully, Dorado Rock Materials can get you, well, your yard anyway, back to what it once was, and even better. Dorado Rock Materials has just what your yard needs, from decorative rock to boulders and everything in between, brought right to you. And if you need help spreading it, we can help with that too. Dorado Rock Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
Did you know collecting sports cards is one of the fastest growing hobbies around? Whether you're looking to start or expand your collection, Showtime Cards is your ultimate destination. As one of the leading card shops in the country, they've been serving our community for over 25 years with the best in sports cards and trading card games. From rare finds to the latest releases, Showtime Cards has it all. Check them out at ShowtimeCards.com or visit them today at 5801 East Speedway. And discover why collectors everywhere trust Showtime Cards for their passion.
Quick, she's over here. I don't know. I just found her like this.
Yeah, she's banged up, but she'll be fine.
Oh, thank God. What can I do?
Just need the keys. And, sir?
Yeah?
Your car's gonna be fine.
Thank you.
Mobile detailing from Recon Auto Detailing. Tired of wear and tear on your vehicle or just tired of cleaning it yourself? We'll come to you. Book with us online and see why we have over 1,100 5-star reviews. Recon Auto Detailing. ReconDetail.com.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
If you're feeling overwhelmed by the thought of a home remodel, don't stress. The Window Depot is here to help. At the Window Depot, we're your one-stop warehouse for everything you need for your next remodel. Windows? Check. Doors? Got it. Cabinets, countertops, and everything in between, you'll find it all here at the lowest prices. Whether it's a kitchen, bathroom, or whole home makeover, our experienced designers are ready to bring your dream home to life, all at unbeatable prices. Find a location near you or shop online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
The cold Arizona nights are here. Is your furnace ready? For just $59, Rightway is offering a complete system tune-up, ensuring your furnace runs efficiently to keep your home comfortable all season long. Routine maintenance is key to avoiding costly breakdowns. And with over 9,000 5-star Google reviews, you can trust Rightway to get the job done right. Plus, we'll include a free carbon monoxide test for your peace of mind. Call Rightway today at 520-640-2665 or visit us at rightwayac.com for your $59 complete system tune-up.
One day while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden.
Bradley across midcourt, pounding it into the hardwood, off to Love. Love back top, Del Orso, catch and shoot. Got it! Exactly what the coach wants.
A set call to try to spring Del Orso for three, work to perfection.
Our pregame show Spotlight on a Cat is brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet. Wildcats getting set to take on their final Big 12 opponent in the regular season on the road with the Kansas Jayhawks. Pleased to be joined by guard Anthony Del Orso. He has been in the starting lineup for the majority of the season for this Arizona Wildcats club. And Anthony, appreciate you taking a few moments to chat with us. Let's just kind of go back and talk about the totality of this season, first season at major Division I level. At what point did you feel like you were starting to get comfortable? Or are you even comfortable right now? You're still kind of trying to figure out what this level of play is all about?
Yeah, I think everyone's always in a kind of figure it out mode. Every team is so different in the Big 12. You got different scouts and kind of figuring out where you're going to see your game kind of progress throughout the game. Sometimes it's earlier, sometimes it's later. But for me, kind of, preseason, it's summertime, spent 8 weeks in the summer and then took the long preseason kind of to get comfortable with, the guys, the coaches, the style of play, that kind of thing. So now I'm comfortable. I'm still, always trying to figure things out, trying to, do this, do that, I think improve in different ways. But, I feel great here. I love being here. We've had a hell of a season and can't wait to take on the last game of the year.
How would you categorize this Big 12 conference and the brand of basketball that needs to be played to win at a high level?
Yeah, it's very unique. It's super physical. That's kind of what you always hear, and it's definitely true. Stepping up from the mid-major level, the physicality is something that you kind of know about, but you don't really fully understand until you kind of get involved in it. And then the other thing is just kind of variety of teams, play styles. You got some teams that will, they're like targeting. That's kind of their offense. They'll target single plays. You got teams that run full offenses. You got teams like BYU who run, shooters off every pin down. So there's a whole bunch of different variety. That's what I kind of found unique about the Big 12, opposed to where I came from, mid-major level. But the physicality is one that you can't miss. You have to have physicality, or else you won't be competitive in the Big 12.
Chatting with Anthony Del Orso, Arizona Wildcats transfer guard out of Campbell from Melbourne, Australia. You mentioned the physicality, and we've heard that. We heard that even before Arizona got to this conference. But I want you to break down what that means from your position. When you talk about this is a more physical conference, so what does that mean exactly? Or does that mean that, guards are bumping you on the drive? Does that mean, guys are up on you at the catch? How do you really kind of break that down to the average person?
Yeah, so if you want to single it down to kind of guards, I would definitely say, coming from mid-major, you might have guys that are super skilled, or guys that are kind of taller or faster and those kind of athletic abilities. And the Big 12 guards everyone's strong, everyone's got muscle, and it's more like who has the more muscle is almost as successful as can be. So if you watch closely, you might see like drives or defense, guys using their chest or coming off screens, being able to fight over the big. That's kind of ways you can kind of notice it from a guard's perspective. But on a whole kind of level, I would definitely say the bigs are the biggest separator. At the mid-major level, you have maybe one 7-footer if you're lucky on one team. Here, every team has them. They're all, 250, 260 pounds. They can all jump, they can all dunk, they can all rebound at the, pinnacle of the ball. So that's sort of things you have to adjust to on the fly. Now, I got used to it in the summer and the preseason, like I said, kind of with our guys. And then you go play other teams, and it's like every week it's a new challenge to kind of get your head wrapped around and kind of how you're going to tackle it. But that's something that I've kind of adjusted to. I've put into my game, since being here, lifting, putting on weight, getting stronger. That's something I've valued a whole lot more now since being in Arizona.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you now. Body by rounds, as we like to call it here in southern Arizona. Yep. How have those sessions with Chris been, and how much weight have you put on since when you got here?
Yeah, Chris is great. We go there in the summer almost pretty much every day. Lifting, we lifted at my old school, but not the same way we lift here. It's a definitely higher attention to detail, and it's obviously more focused just because the guys don't understand how important it is, later down the track. So I've been with him almost every day in the preseason, and now all the time, kind of focusing on certain things. But since I got here, I've probably put on, probably at least, I would say almost 20, 25 pounds at least. I feel myself being stronger. I feel my athleticism getting better. Biggest thing for me has been, I've been blessed to have no injuries, but I don't even feel like any of that stuff's kind of, my bones feel stronger, my muscles feel stronger, everything just feels stronger since being here. So that's a credit to Rounds for sure, because he takes great care of us in the weight room.
Pleased to be joined by Arizona Wildcats junior guard Anthony Del Orso. Anthony, I know one of the things that Coach Lloyd has been really emphasizing with you lately is we want Anthony to be catch and shoot. We want Anthony to be catch and shoot. How have those conversations gone with him for you as to what your primary role needs to be out there? I know a couple times he said, I don't mind Anthony going to the basket, but I don't want him going to the basket as, at the expense of passing up a good outside shot for this team.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk about it pretty frequently. Coach is really good like that in terms of getting in touch with guys and connecting with them to kind of lay out a floor plan of kind of what he wants and how you can find those things. And yeah, he values my sort of catch and shoot, my 3-point ability, that kind of stuff. But for me, I've always been a scorer. He knows that. So it's more so like, this is our team. This is what we need in this stage, or it might be this game. This is what we need. Because that's an area that I know that has needed for a while. We need outside shooting because we are so dominant in the paint that teams will tend to sink in. So we need that outside ability. It's just too important to pass up. So we're always super, communicating about that and kind of being on the same page. So, I mean, I'm just constantly finding shots, finding threes, attacking the rim when they, over-exaggerate on my three, and just trusting my scoring instincts, to be honest.
So, I mean, that's interesting because maybe a lot of people don't really know that about you. You were a scorer, or at Campbell, I would imagine you were a guy that really got to the basket a lot, drove to the basket a lot. Although that's not necessarily being asked of you as much here, has that been difficult to adapt to maybe not doing that as much?
Yeah, I mean, you don't really, for me personally, I don't really think about it. Like, I'm not really, like, on the court kind of holding myself back or in the moment trying to not do something because of what's been said or what hasn't been said. In the game, I got to play with instinct. I got to play with 100% conviction. Like, I can't be out there second guessing, or if I do drive, I'm kind of going half speed because I'm kind of conscious on should I do it, should I not. When I'm playing. I'm not thinking about any of that. I know, obviously, in the back of your mind, you have, I want to try and shoot threes, but the second I don't have a three-pointer shot, I'm driving to the rim. Like, it's not even in my mind. I mean, Coach always says you got to attack with aggressive mindset, so that's kind of how I see it.
It's our Spotlight on a Cat, and it's brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet. Pleased to be joined by Anthony Dell'Orso, junior guard from your Arizona Wildcats men's basketball team. And Anthony, one of the things that's interesting that I've noticed about you when you do drive to the rim and get out in transition sometimes is you're very adept at protecting the ball on the way to the basket. You don't get a lot of shots blocked at the rim. How did you develop that? How did you develop that ability to sense where the defender is and where you have to go with the ball to make sure that the defender doesn't get a play on it?
Yeah, that's come from growing up. I was a small kid coming out of Australia, always been kind of undersized. So I had to, pretty early on, going against, bigger kids, had to figure out how to get a shot up at the rim without getting it stuffed. So that's kind of where that's developed from. As I've gone up, I've grown now and I've gotten taller, it's become a little easier because now I can shoot over guys more. But that kind of instinct to protect the ball or use the rim and use the sides of the glass and spin the ball, that kind of thing, that's always from just growing up and being a small kid and having to find unique ways to get the ball up there without getting sent to the second row.
Chatting with Anthony Dell'Orso, Arizona Wildcats junior guard. Do you have a dunk this year, Anthony? I'm thinking you might have a couple.
Yeah, I got a couple. You'd be surprised how big of a talking point that is around here for me, but I got a couple. I know Texas Tech, I got one every now and then, but I mean, to me, 2 points. I'd love to get a dunk, but if I can just get the points and get back on defense, that's all I'm really caring about.
What was that? Obviously, you went through that little bit of a shooting slump recently where you went about 4 or 5 games where you weren't able to make a three. How did you try to keep your confidence during that?
Yeah, I mean, confidence is something I believe comes from within. I mean, you can develop it. You can get it from outside. You really have to believe it. I believe that I'm one of the best shooters that there is. So, I know that if I miss some here, miss some there, I'm not really worried because overall it's a game of numbers. So it's going to come back eventually because I'm, constantly putting the work in. I'm constantly working out, getting reps. In practice, it's the same. So it's not like I'm missing a couple shots and I'm starting to think, this is what's wrong with my form. What's wrong with this? Why is it not going in? It's just keep working and then basically trust your work. That's kind of how I see the shooting abilities.
It's the Cats and the Kansas Jayhawks. What do you see with this Kansas team? Obviously, they were preseason #1 in the country. They've gone through some struggles. What do you see when you look at Kansas on tape?
Yeah, I see a great team. Everyone knows they're tough to play at home. Big environment. To get in there and kind of do what we do. But they're a great team. They got great, guys that can score on different unique plays that kind of bring different things to the table. So we'll look at them and kind of get a plan going forward. And I'm confident that we can go in there and win. I have no doubt in my mind. But every team goes through the struggles. I mean, we went through it earlier in the year. They just happened to go later in the year. It's just a matter of how you respond. And I think we're in a great spot where we are now. And sort of that struggle has kind of put us in this position now. So I'm excited for Saturday's game.
Obviously, Henry Vasar has been kind of the breakout star maybe on this team this year, a guy that, we weren't sure what his play was going to be like, and he's just really stepped to the forefront. What have you liked about what you've seen from how he operates out there on the court?
Yeah, he brings that unique versatility, especially as a big. We got great players, but he kind of brings the thing. He's so tall. He's obviously 7 foot. He can shoot it. He's obviously got long arms, so he can dunk it. He can rebound the ball at the height that, other bigs can't really get to. So he kind of brings that versatility of inside-outside play, which I think teams playing Arizona always think, we're just going to, post up and we're just going to pound teams inside the paint. And all of a sudden, the big posts out. It creates the rim because there's no more big guy protecting the rim. So he just brings that kind of different look to our team that I think teams aren't. It's hard to scout both. On one thing, it's hard to cover up 2 things. So that's kind of what I've noticed that he does so great, but it also helps the whole team that I would say almost goes a little unnoticed.
Outstanding. Well, Anthony, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us. Continued success as you guys get ready for the Big 12 tournament and then the big one, the NCAA tournament after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
That's today's Spotlight on a Cat. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet. Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is just getting started. This is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Hour 1 of the pregame show is brought to you by Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Poston Results Team with Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, the Window Depot, and by Meridian Wealth Management, wealth well managed, life well lived.
Accidents cause hassles as big as the Grand Canyon.
So we're hitting the road to spread the word about the bird.
The Eagle at Goldberg and Osborne.
Freeway fiasco in Flagstaff.
Hurt in Havasu.
Totaled in Tucson.
No worries. The Eagle has offices across the state. From Kingman
to Sierra Vista, where they fight hard to get you more.
So relax and ride on.
Because the bird is the word.
Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THEEAGLE.com.
At University Termite and Pest Control, we handle all your pest problems. Maybe a few family ones, too.
Wait, you can even take care of my in-laws?
I always tell people we'll take care of anything, even in-laws. You just have to dig the hole.
Okay, but seriously, is it okay for our pets?
Absolutely. It's okay for pets, kids, anything you want to live, will live.
Call us today at University Termite and Pest Control. We'll squash those pests and enjoy it.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Donna Autumn Nation.
Most plumbing problems start with a 4-letter word: drip, leak, clog. Whatever your plumbing problem might be, you can trust Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing to deliver fast, honest, and reliable service by a plumbing expert that will find the right solution for your plumbing problems. Call us at 520-492-0748 or PictureRocksCooling.com.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Do you often worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster Garage Door Opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Day in and day out, we're inundated with commercials asking to review your portfolio or telling you to get a second opinion. This is Natalie Fernandez with Meridian Wealth Management, and I want to share the advice I give people every day. Talk to 3 different advisors at 3 different firms. It's important to understand their differences and find someone you can trust. I want Meridian to be one of your 3, and then you will decide who is best for you. To learn more, call us at 719-1433 today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rocking K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rocking K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps. Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Caleb, bounce pass, nice one to Awaka. Throw it inside. Carter Bryant will slam it home.
Excellent set call, using the ASU help defense as a decoy for the lob.
Let's take a look at the Right Way rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
Hour number 2 of our pregame show, leading you up to Arizona and Kansas at 2:30 from Lawrence. We'll hear from the Wildcats on senior night, a 113-100 win. We'll check your college basketball scoreboard. It's brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers. In fact, we've got number 19, Kentucky and Missouri on the screen in here, and the 5th-ranked Tigers at home, down 6 with about 4 minutes to go. Your scouting report will be brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Henry Greenstein from the Lawrence Journal-World will join us. Over at the Desert Diamond Casino Sportsbook, Arizona Wildcats are a 4-point underdog today at Lawrence against the Jayhawks. Over-under today, 154.5. Your view from courtside, Reggie Geary will join us from Phog Allen Fieldhouse. He'll call the game today with Brian Jeffries. You'll hear it on Wildcats Radio 1290. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can give us a call if you want to talk some Arizona basketball with us this morning, or shoot us a text. You can also interact on any number of our platforms that we have. Download our app right now. You can text us through our app. It's all right there on the front page of the Wildcats Radio 1290 app. There's a button that says message the station. You can push that button and you can type us a message. You can hit record audio. You can record audio and send it to us. Tell us your thoughts on Arizona basketball and then just submit it through the record audio button. You can also share media. If you're going to be at the game today in Lawrence, take a few pictures. Hit the share media button. Show us your pictures today from Phog Allen Fieldhouse. If you head on over there right now, we've got a preview of today's game. Also, you can read about the Cologuard Classic, which is going on here in Southern Arizona this weekend. Greg Chalmers is the first-round leader. Play is underway over at the La Paloma Country Club in round number 2. Greg Chalmers and the top guys on the leaderboard will be teeing off here in about 9 minutes, 12:17. The final tee times of the day, and Greg's lead is still 2 shots, although another few players have crept into that group that were sitting at 5 under, including Alex Secek. He's at 5 under with 4 under through today. having only played 5 holes. And Stuart Sink, who was in the mix last year, is also now in that group at 5 under par out at the La Paloma Country Club. Great to get a chance to be out there yesterday for that event. You heard at the top the highlight, Toby Awaka and the Wildcats did an outstanding job of doing what I wanted them to do in that game against Arizona State, and that was pound the ball into their big men. I told you Henry Vasar had 22 points. Toby Awaka had 15 points and 9 rebounds.
We were just focused, in transition, getting the duck-ins, the point to post. JB, at the end did a great job of sort of finding me and Henry in the post for easy, dump down catches and finishes. So I thought we did a good job of taking advantage of that.
So the win for Arizona clinched a spot for them in the top 4 of the conference, which means they will get the double bye. The Wildcats cannot finish any worse than 3rd, depending on what happens today in Lawrence, Kansas. And that was a huge goal that was achieved, says Tommy Lloyd.
I'm happy, we secured a top 4 spot, which basically, allows us that double bye where we don't have to play till Thursday. I think that's something that should be commended, especially the way our season started. No, I'm not disowning my responsibility for how the season started, but sometimes it starts that way. And our guys dug deep and fought their way back. So, to have a double bye in the Big 12 and be one of the top 4 teams, it's pretty impressive. And I'm proud of our guys for that.
Houston is 18-1 on the season in conference play. The Wildcats and Texas Tech both sitting at 14-5. So Arizona could, with a loss and a win by Texas Tech, fall into that 3-seed position. BYU right now is sitting at the other 4 spot. And so the Wildcats, though, already have the tiebreaker over the BYU Cougars. So they'll be the no less again than the 3 seed in the Big 12 tournament, which is coming up this coming week in Kansas City. The Wildcats played senior night on Tuesday against ASU. Tommy Lloyd in the past has started some of his walk-ons on senior night. He did not make that move this year. He stayed with his normal starting lineup, inserting in Trey Townsend, who had been coming off the bench for the last 4 games, back into his starting role that he had occupied for the majority of the season. And Tommy talked about his decision not to put any of his senior walk-ons in the starting lineup.
I obviously thought about it oh, no, I got to figure this out. And you know what those dudes said? Those dudes told me, you ain't doing that to us, coach. This is about our team and our program. You're not putting us in that position because the most important thing is we win that game. And Grant said, I started last year. I'm never starting again. Big Will said, Coach, if you start me, I'll be pissed. Champ was fine either way. And Liam said, hell no. So it wasn't a hard decision. And when you have, kids like that in your program, it says something. So because not one of those guys is about themselves.
My favorite part of that, Kelvin, was Liam saying, hell no.
Yeah, nah, man, that's a kid that get it. That's a player that practices with his brothers every day and got the long game, the long game in mind. So I understand you got to tip your hat to all those guys because a lot of walk-ons, you want to get that one start your senior year. You kind of expect that opportunity, but at the end of the day, when you're fighting for a position to get a double bye, it doesn't take a rocket science. It doesn't take to understand that. So I just think as players, they're here to win a championship. They're here to see their team go as far as it can go. And again, I just tip my hat to those guys.
And it's special just because you mentioned that you get that chance to walk through the handshake line, and they all have their little thing that they do now. There's always one guy that stands at the end of the handshake line, and last year they would put the crown on Umar Ballo, and Caleb Love has his little hand thing that he does, and so you want to maybe have that feeling once, but like you mentioned, these guys understand the long game, and Toby Awaka talked about that as well.
Selfless guys, I know. I'm sure a bunch of guys would have wanted to have that moment, but, they're so selfless and for the team. They knew kind of the point in the season we're at and, what our goals are. And, the main goal was just to take care of business, leave here with a win.
And we mentioned one of those guys in that group was the head coach's son, Liam Lloyd, who started his career at Grand Canyon, went to northern Arizona and got a chance to play extensively there, and then decided that he wanted to come home and finish his career here with his dad after having a son of his own. And Tommy talked about the senior day experience. He got to go out there, not just as the coach and serve a plaque to one of his other seniors, but to be able to hand that jerseyed plaque to his son, Liam.
Wow. Can I say business as usual? Liam's a great kid, and obviously we have a great relationship, but, we approached this year we never thought it would happen because we never wanted it to happen. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but Liam's very independent. He was on his own journey. He doesn't need his dad. Things happen in his life. Obviously, you see me holding Luca, which is awesome. It's literally been the best thing that's happened to our family, even better than coming to Arizona, which, it's probably a close second. So, so we just having him around every day, because I know this, my parents, recently bought a house down here, so they're here more. My wife's family bought a house down here, they're here more, and we're Tucsonans. And, you never know if your family's going to be around every day. And I'm sure all you guys have experienced that. When I was 18, I have awesome parents and, blue collar as can be, and work their asses off. And, I just remember when I went to college, I drove myself to college. And they basically told me, coming back home is not an option. And not that it was a great home, but you're on your own journey. And so, when Liam left home, Chanel and I don't know if we're ever going to be in his day-to-day life ever again. And so to have him here has been really cool. But down in Arizona, with the basketball program, it's literally business as usual. And, there's nothing extra, nothing this, nothing that. But it's nice that he comes up for dinner a few nights a week, and, and we get to hang out with him and Hallie, his fiance, and our daughters, and Luca. So, that's been really special.
Yeah, it's. I think we can all relate to that right there, what it's like to kind of have an opportunity to be around your family. And like you said, it's still, even though maybe it wasn't something that they thought would ever happen, the opportunity for that to be the way that Liam Lloyd ends his basketball career is really, really cool for sure. All right, Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Gameday is the name of the program. Arizona and Kansas coming up at 2:30. We'll get our first check-in deep dive on the Kansas Jayhawks coming up next. Henry Greenstein will join us with your scouting report, along with Kelvin Ifan and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio, 1290. Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is getting you closer to tip-off. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 2 of our pregame show is brought to you by Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Recon Auto Detail, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rocking K, a master planned community designed by nature, University Termite and Pest Control, and by Meridian Wealth Management, wealth well managed, life well lived.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or royalkia.com.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Donna Ogden Nation.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
If you can't be at the game, then you should be at Dave & Buster's. It's the best place to eat, watch, drink, and play. Watch your favorite team throughout the entire tournament. Take a walk on the $1 Million Midway where you can play the biggest and newest arcade games. So when your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's. Watch all the sports you want. They have massive HD TVs, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
One day, while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
Hi, this is Peter Costa, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange and proud member of the Advisory Business Council with Meridian Wealth Management. One thing I've learned over 40 years on the floor is the value of a trusting relationship with your financial advisor. After all, everyone is a genius when the markets are going up, but when they drop, that's when the guidance of a professional is most important. For more information about Meridian, call 719-1433 or visit online at meridianwealthllc.com.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden. Time now for a look at today's Wildcat opponent. The Scouting Report is brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier, since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Final regular season game for your Arizona men's basketball team, and it's the game that most of us here have been waiting for. Arizona and Kansas for the first time in the Big 12. Pleased to be joined by Henry Greenstein. He is the sports editor at the Lawrence Journal-World newspaper. Also writes for KUSports.com, covers all things Kansas Jayhawks. And Henry, first of all, appreciate you joining us. I mentioned there that this is the game we have been waiting for because obviously when Arizona made this trek to come into the Big 12 and we began talking about teams that the Wildcats were going to be rivaled against. In terms of basketball, the first team that came up was the Kansas Jayhawks. I'm curious, though, how this game and how this new rivalry is being viewed on the other side, on the Kansas side. And if Kansas sees this as, okay, here's Arizona, this is going to be one of our new rivals in this conference.
Yeah, I honestly think that the shine of this matchup has been taken off quite a bit by KU's season. I do recall being excited when it first came out, and many of the fans felt the same way. I recall there was quite a bit of discussion about why there wasn't a return date at McHale, especially in some of the Tucson media that I read when the schedule came out. But yeah, I think that the prevailing emotion around the Kansas fan base regarding this game now is maybe just a sense of dread or resignation as KU tries to preserve its 42-year-long senior night streak in the face of one of the lesser seasons of Bill Self's tenure. But yeah, I mean, certainly this is a matchup that will be compelling for years to come, and Arizona has really responded quite well to the challenge of being in the Big 12 and has a lot of respect from Bill Self and his team, and should be a fun one on Saturday.
So let me get this straight. Wait, 42 years in a row they've won on senior night?
Yeah, since losing in the 1982 to 83 season,
wow.
Which was the last season under Ted Owens, KU has won its regular season home finale in every game.
That is a streak for sure. It is your scouting report, and it's brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Jack Furrier since 1960 here to get you there. We're chatting with Henry Greenstein from the Lawrence Journal-World. He covers the Kansas Jayhawks as well for KU Sports.com. And Henry, what has gone wrong this year? Obviously preseason number one, but middle of the road in this conference. What has gone wrong for the Jayhawks?
Yeah, that's the big question. And it's the second year in a row people have been asking that after KU was preseason number one and now is going to stumble to their worst seed line in about 25 years at least. The first thing that comes to mind is just transfers not necessarily delivering on their promise. You know, last year, Hunter Dickinson was a great acquisition, and he was a second-team All-American, and it was hard for anyone to really take much issue with that. This year, the big prize in the portal for KU was A.J. Storr, and he has not adapted well at all. He's been quite poor throughout the season. He hasn't. It was always going to be a little bit of a challenge. At Wisconsin, Storr was the focal point of the offense. He was a second-team All-Big Ten player. He was incredibly high usage. The idea here was for more to him to be a piece of a broader offensive attack, where Hunter was always going to kind of be the centerpiece. Instead, he really has fallen quite short of even being a starting caliber player, let alone maybe even a rotation caliber one. He's been one of the most inefficient players in the Big 12. He's been really turnover prone. He hasn't defended or rebounded particularly well, which were the main things Bill Self wanted out of him prior to the season to kind of bolster the offensive game. It was already clear he had. So Storr falling way short of expectations has been a big problem. The other transfers KU got to varying degrees have probably met or exceeded some expectations, though. Guard Shaquille Moore broke his foot in a pickup game in the offseason and missed a huge chunk of the beginning of the season because of that. And then KU was playing some of his best basketball in January when he was inserted in the starting lineup, but then he re-injured his foot, and he's basically been out for all of February heading into March. So that didn't help necessarily. The other thing is just recently really bad late-game execution has come to the forefront. And that's been startling because in the fall, KU's best win of the season was against Duke in Las Vegas. They played that late game about as perfectly as they possibly could. They stifled a pair of really good opportunities for Con-Knipple at the end of that game that could have maybe gotten Duke a tie or the lead. And it just hasn't been like that at all. They haven't gotten, in particular, the key buckets you would need on offense. I mean, each of KU's last two games, at home against Texas Tech, on the road at Houston, were opportunities for them to take down one of the top 10 teams in the country. They dug their way out of a slight deficit to take a narrow lead in the second half, and then basically went cold for the last 3 minutes of each game and had like one bucket in each game. And that's not going to be enough when you're playing some of the best teams in the country. So it has been a stark contrast from games like Duke, or even further back than that, UNC, and it's also just been a stark contrast from the entirety of the Bill Self era. You know, part of the reason why KU won all those conference championships in a row is because they would grit out these wins that most other teams weren't able to on the strength of Self's coaching and the pure talent their players had. Their margin of error is not nearly as high this year, nor was it last year, and it's cost them quite a few times. I mean, you think about the game that really started KU's kind of tailspin this year was at home against Houston. They were up by 6 with less than a minute left in both regulation and overtime, and somehow managed to lose both those leads. I really feel like if that had gone differently, they probably wouldn't have blown a 21-point lead at Baylor, and we might be talking about a very different situation for this KU team at this point. But, yeah, all sorts of things have gone wrong. It's kind of hard to point to just one issue.
Henry Greenstein is our guest. He is the sports editor at the Lawrence Journal-World, and it is the Wildcats and the Kansas Jayhawks. You mentioned, obviously, the history of Bill Self's teams being able to kind of grit out, and grit seems to be a popular word this year. They've taken a hold of that here with the Arizona Wildcats. They like to call themselves the Gritty Boys. Grit out those wins at the end. Do you think that the reason maybe that you all are not seeing that has anything to do with this new era that we're in and all of these teams being filled with a lot of guys that have transferred in who really haven't played together for a length of time for them to understand how to win together at the end of games?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say it has a little bit to do with it, but every team's facing that predicament to some extent. It's not exclusive to KU by any means, and KU did win a national title in the portal era in 2022. So I think that certainly plays a role, though. I think that there's been a sense, and Self has said he's done this himself, like of recruiting players based on talent and then making them fit your own system. And I think that we may see a renewed emphasis on fit for what Self already wants to do heading into next offseason, because with Storr and to a lesser extent with Ryan Griffin, it hasn't really panned out as anyone had expected. And, yeah, the team hasn't really gelled in certain ways. I do think that there are some players who have been great additions and have earned themselves the respect and trust of the coaching staff. Zeke Mayo comes to mind, although he's currently in his worst stretch of the season, but a Lawrence native who excelled at South Dakota State, slotted in the starting lineup right away here at KU and has basically exceeded anyone's expectations. David Coit, a late summer addition from Northern Illinois, who has been one of KU's most reliable, if not their single most reliable outside shooter for the last month or so, and has played above the level that most people expected on defense. At Northern Illinois, he was a 21-point-per-game scorer, basically, who had the ball in him on every possession. He's been a kind of a role player this year, but has embraced that, and he's been a great fit. So it's still possible for certain players to gel, but KU's hit rate this year in the portal certainly has not been as high as some of the other teams in the Big 12.
We're chatting with Henry Greenstein from the Lawrence Journal-World, getting you set for the Wildcats and Kansas Jayhawks. Henry, you mentioned the struggles of guard Zeke Mayo. Point guard Dwan Harris has also had some scoring dip lately. What's kind of been at the back of that?
Yeah, it's so hard to predict from one game to the next how Dwan will do on offense. It seems like he's I mean, this is his 6th season of college basketball. At this point, he's kind of the type of player that he is, and what that is a pass-first point guard. He says it all the time. That's the role in which he's most valuable. Between defending the opposing team's best player and distributing the ball around on offense, those are his primary skills. But on the other hand, there are certain games over the course of his career. I mean, if you look back to like the Kentucky Champions Classic game in last season, where Dwan Harris, understanding that it was his time to take over the game on offense, has directly led to a KU victory. It almost seems like he has to kind of spur himself to take on an active role on offense, and his level of aggression on that end is extremely inconsistent. I think that these last 2 games, KU probably would have been well served by a couple more drives to the basket by Harris, a couple more three-point attempts by Harris. I mean, there was a stretch over a few games in February where he didn't even attempt a three for like 3 or 4 games in a row. And he's a pretty good shooter generally, even though his numbers are down this year. Got kind of a weird release that makes it difficult for him to get it off. But teams go under screens against him all the time because they don't expect him to shoot. He's actually pretty good at it. I think that a more consistently aggressive Dwan Harris, even though he's basically the 4th or 5th scoring option on the court at any given time, would certainly aid KU.
Henry Greenstein from the Lawrence Journal-World is our guest. It is your scouting report, and it's brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Jack Furrier, since 1960, here to get you there. Wildcats and Jayhawks for the first time in the Big 12, and obviously this is our first season in this whole thing, Henry, and it seems like it has been an absolute battle every night. You guys have been around this conference forever, and you mentioned, I think it's 20 of 24 Big 12 championships. Last two, though, Houston comes in, their first two, and they've taken control of this conference. I guess, is it when did it get to this point? When did it get to this stature where it's like every night seems to be just an all-out war between one team or the other?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's props to the Big 12 that they've been able to maintain a level of competitiveness on a night-by-night basis, even though, as you said, there hasn't been a huge amount of parity in who's won the conference. But, yeah, I think that that's been one of the fundamental qualities. The coaches in this conference love rock fights generally. They love winning ugly. There are a few exceptions to that. I mean, if you look at a team like UCF this year, they can score with anyone and they can't defend anyone. There are a few teams that don't really fit the model of what you typically see in the Big 12. But Houston fits that ethos perfectly. They're an incredibly gritty team. They defend better than anyone else in the country. I think even some of the lesser teams that have recently joined the conference are also well suited to win in low scoring fashion. I mean, I saw KU in Cincinnati this year, and the Bearcats basically took it till the end of the shot clock on every single possession and then barely gave up any points, but only scored 40 of their own, and KU took that game. So, yeah, I think that winning ugly is a big thing in the Big 12, and I think that Houston has shown an ability to do that better than just about anyone else over the last couple of years.
All right, what does Kansas have to do to win?
Well, it's interesting because these last couple games, KU has basically fulfilled what it needs to do to win, but has not won. So, we'll see exactly how that pans out. But the first thing that comes to mind for me is defensive rebound. Weirdly, for a team that isn't bad at rebounding and has Hunter Dickinson and Flory Badunga in front court a lot of the time, KU has become quite inept when it comes to actually grabbing defensive rebounds. They're a much better offensive rebounding team, and they've given up so many second chance opportunities of late. That was really what did them in those final 3 minutes against Houston that I referenced earlier. So, Arizona has some size, but not necessarily in its starting lineup as much as when Vasar comes in. It'll be interesting to see how that plays a role. They also need KJ Adams to continue to be a better rebounder than he has been. It's been such an interesting thing to watch because Adams can jump out of the gym. He's 6'7". He's the best athlete on KU's roster in all likelihood, with the possible exception of Badunga, who I mentioned. But he's never been a good rebounder over the course of his career, which is just kind of puzzling. Against Texas Tech, though, he had 13 rebounds. So if he can get anything resembling that, that would go a long way. Limiting turnovers as well, the same kind of deal. Just got to maximize your possessions. Against Houston, I believe KU attempted 26 fewer shots than the Cougars and lost by 6 points. You can't do that against a top 25 team the caliber of Arizona. The other thing is KU needs better defense from guards other than DeJuan Harris. This encompasses Zeke Mayo, David Coit, Brian Griffin, just about anyone else is out there because, as you know, Arizona is pretty deep as a guard position. It's not just Caleb Love as a one-man band back there. Now, as DeJuan Harris and Bill Self said yesterday, when Caleb Love gets the ball, you basically have to assume he could shoot at any moment. But I think Harris is up to that challenge. You've seen him before, obviously, in the 2022 national title game, and even before that in Missouri high school basketball. So those players know each other well. I think it's really more about guys like Bradley and Lewis and trying to limit those with players who aren't necessarily as good perimeter defenders. So could be kind of a tough matchup for KU in that respect because they don't necessarily, with more out, they don't necessarily have the same kind of defensive power around Harris. But yeah, should be a couple of pretty evenly matched teams. And like I said, a 4-decade-long streak is in jeopardy.
We shall see. 43 in a row. That would be something definitely to hang the end of the season hat on for the Kansas Jayhawks. Henry, appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us and enjoy the game.
Yep, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Henry Greenstein from the Lawrence Journal-World, and that is your scouting report for today.
And that's the lowdown on the team U of A is about to face on the hardwood. The scouting report has been brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Looking to upgrade your home? The Window Depot is your go-to spot for Milgard windows and patio doors. Select from a variety of styles, including aluminum, vinyl, or fiberglass, to start your journey to a brighter, more beautiful home. The Window Depot has Milgard windows in stock, ready to go home today, or their team can help you with a special order. Whether you're looking for energy efficiency, aesthetic appeal, or custom solutions, they've got you covered. Build the home you deserve with Milgard windows and doors from the Window Depot. Visit thewindowdepot.com to find a location near you.
The cold Arizona nights are here. Is your furnace ready? For just $59, Right Way is offering a complete system tune-up, ensuring your furnace runs efficiently to keep your home comfortable all season long. Routine maintenance is key to avoiding costly breakdowns. And with over 9,000 five-star Google reviews, you can trust Right Way to get the job done right. Plus, we'll include a free carbon monoxide test for your peace of mind. Call Right Way today at 520-640-2665 or visit us at rightwayac.com for your $59 complete system tune-up.
Motoring around one day, Bob heard all about it on the radio. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras for one low price, including valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. Bob knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. As cliches would have it, just then Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 locations and without hesitation claimed his new set of tires, installed for one low price, thingies included.
Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rocking K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. 6 model homes are now open to tour at Del Webb at Rocking K. Here, life is about more than just beautiful homes. It's about the experiences waiting outside your front door at this new 55-plus active adult neighborhood. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or RoyalKia.com.
One day while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden.
Wildcats with the ball the other way. Love, skip pass left corner. Townsend for 3, and he answers. There's our first Lexus of Tucson Charity 3. Off the fingertips of Trey Townsend.
Arizona, Kansas today at Lawrence. 2:30 is the tip-off time, so we are now under 2 hours. Let's let you know what's happening around the rest of college basketball today.
Let's take a look at what's happening around the rest of the country. The college basketball scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
Big 12, it is the final day of the regular season, so everyone is in action today. There is one game in progress. Number 10, Iowa State, second half on the road at Kansas State, leading by 10. Iowa State trying to finish 13-7 in the Big 12 Conference. Number 9, Texas Tech will be at Arizona State today. They will look to try to finish 15-5 and be even with the Arizona Wildcats if the Wildcats were to win today. Cincinnati and Oklahoma State, Bearcats 7-12, Cowboys 6-13. TCU at Colorado, Colorado 2-17, Horned Frogs 9-10. West Virginia hosting Central Florida, Mountaineers 9-10, Knights 7-12. Number 3, Houston visits Baylor. Houston 18-1, trying to finish the conference season 19-1. So regardless of whether they win or lose, under 3 was the winner in our poll weeks back, saying what would the loss total be for the champion of the Big 12? Under 3. I don't think a lot of people thought that that was going to be the case in this conference this year. Baylor comes in at 10-9. Final game of the day is a rivalry game in Provo. Number 23, BYU. They just continue to play well. 7 consecutive wins. They'll host Utah, and the Utes come in at 8-11 on the season. 3 finals already on the top 25 scoreboard. Number 6, St. John's wins at Marquette in overtime. 86-80. The Johnnies are 18-2 in the Big East. Number 19, Kentucky gets a 91-83 win on the road at 15th-ranked Missouri today. Both those teams are 10-8 and 21-10 in the SEC. Also in the SEC today, a pretty nice game in Arkansas today as the Razorbacks take down number 25 Mississippi 93-92, and it was both those teams are now 8-10 as well in the conference of the SEC. Here on campus last night, we had Arizona baseball playing game 2 of their series against Pepperdine.
And the 1-0 swung on, hit out to center field. That'll drop for a base hit. Arizona takes the lead. Another 1-2 from Hintz. Swung on up the middle. White gets it, touches second for 1, over to first for the double play, and the Cats win it. A nice play from Mason White to finish things off, and Arizona gets the Game 2 victory over Pepperdine.
Yeah, Mason White throwing the gloves at him up the middle of the diamond. 3-1 the final score. That was a 0-0 game through 5. All the scoring done in the final 4.5 innings. Arizona gets the victory to win the first 2 games in that series. They're now 9-4 overall. Colin McKinney started 6 innings, a run on 3 hits. He struck out 7. How about Casey Hintz in relief? 3 scoreless innings. He allowed 4 hits and struck out 3 in the ball game. Game 3 of that series will be later today over at High Corbett Field. Now, Big 12 opener for the Arizona softball team did not go as planned.
The 2-1. Lifted to right field, deep, high, and gone. A 2-run bomb for Stormy Kotzelnick. Her first home run of the season. Makes it 6-3 UCF in the top of the 7th inning. And a clutch home run for Kotzelnick.
The Arizona Wildcats went 21-2 during the regular season, but stunned on Big 12 opening night by the Central Florida Knights, who win it 9-3 with a 5-run 7th inning. And the Wildcats will look to bounce back tonight. Devin Netz got the start, 4 runs, 4 innings. But things came apart in the end. Saya Swain and Aisa Silva allowing 5 runs, all 5 of those runs in the final 3 innings on 5 hits, and the win stolen by UCF last night at Hillenbrand Stadium. Game 2 coming up at 4 o'clock over there of that series. Baseball plays tonight at 6 out at High Corbett field.
Before we close the scoreboard, there's a bonus basketball from last night.
Yes.
In case you missed this, guys, Dallas Mavericks going up against the Memphis Grizzlies. There was rumors that they might only have 6 players available, which would have meant they had to forfeit.
Wow.
So the Mavericks had to pull extra players off of their injured reserve to put them inactive, so they didn't actually have, I think 8 is required to play. So everybody knew this going in. Kyrie tore his ACL this week. If you didn't see, they traded Luka. Well, a certain, I don't know about you, Kelvin, but to me, one of the greatest what-if guys in Arizona basketball history is Brandon Williams. Because when he was a freshman, I just love how smooth that guy was. Obviously had the injury in high school, the COVID year injury, decided to leave. He's kind of been, here and there. But last night, guys, he got minutes because Dallas has nobody else to play. 10 for 15, 31 points, 6 assists, and 5 boards. 10 for 15, Kelvin Ifon. 4 for 8 from 3. Brandon Williams balled out last night for the Mavericks.
There we go. Good to hear that. He's kind of been at it's the bottom end of that bench, but like you said, get an opportunity, go out and show that
And
you
I
can
read
do
that
it.
he's on a 2-way contract, meaning that he can only play in 8 total more games for the Mavericks. They've got 18 games left in the regular season. So hopefully he'll get scooped up and put on a permanent deal there and find himself a home, because clearly they need scoring, Kelvin. I mean, they got Kyrie's out. They got really not a lot of obviously Spencer Dinwiddie's still there. But as far as the scoring punch, all of that was off the bench last night. Probably his best game as a pro. Went pro, I think, 2019, 2020, something like that. So, yeah, great game for Brandon Williams last night.
Also, congratulations last night to the Pima Aztecs men's basketball team. They knock off Chandler Gilbert 80-73 to win the Region 1 Division 2 championship, their 5th such title under Brian Peabody. They set a new single-season record in program history with their 32nd win. They are 32-0 as they head into the national tournament for Division 2. And they'll likely be, I would think, they're the number 1 team in the country, so they will likely be the number 1 seed at that tournament, I would think. Another congratulations to Brian Peabody and his team as they wrap up their home season, and they'll head out now to the regional tournament. Gabe Oldham had a double-double with 22 points and 10 rebounds. Just another outstanding performance by the fellas. Tight game. They haven't been in a lot of tight games. Yeah. They only won that one by 7.
And they all going to feel like that now.
Yeah,
because you're undefeated. You'll just be feeling it, boy. Every time you get it just a little tighter, man. So, hey, you hope they get through those first couple games so they can just get in the rhythm and finish playing. And also, the women play
tonight.
Yep.
They'll play tonight over in Mesa. I mean, that's been the region championship game, I think, every year for the last 15 years. Pima and Mesa, and they pretty much split those games down the middle. Always tough to win on the road, but Todd Holthouse's crew has done it before. They've gone up to Mesa and won before in this final game, and so we'll see if they can do it again tonight and make it 2 teams in the national.
And my little team that y'all hear me coaching around the Tucson Titans, we won the Constellation, I'll say, championship. We were the last 4 in, and we was the last 4 in the tournament. I don't want to make it like we won the tournament now. Let's get that right. We were the last 4 in the 11U tournament. But these are all football players, though. But the kids, made a little run and won the last couple games and won the little Constellation Championship today. So good job, guys.
All right. Congratulations to, what's the name of the team again?
Tucson Titans.
Tucson Titans. Congratulations.
It's really a track team, football team, but we're starting to teach them a little basketball.
There you go. There you go. Improve that footwork. It all translate out to the football field as well. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Arizona and Kansas tonight. We've talked all season long about how coaches are adapting to this new era of college basketball. There's been rumors or had been rumors that, Bill Self might be thinking about retirement. He was asked that question a few weeks ago and shut it down with a one-word answer. No, he is not thinking about retiring. He did, though, talk about coaching in this era of name, image, and likeness and the transfer portal and how there are good things about it and bad things about it.
I think it's challenging. I think the reason we've won over time here is because our best talents have been our youngest players, but our foundation has always been our veterans. And the foundation's going to be different now. The foundation is going to be a 1 or 2 year guy at the most, more than likely. So I think that's going to be different. But it's different everywhere across America. It's not just different here. It's different everywhere. The portal and NIL, the way it's set up, football may be different because kids have to stay for 3 years. But the way it's set up is in basketball, it's win today, worry about tomorrow later. It's hard to say, well, we want to recruit this many freshmen, this many sophomores and whatever, and build consistency over the next 4 or 5 years. No, let's have a 12-month plan, and then when that 12 months is over, let's have another 12-month plan. And I think you're going to see teams all across America obviously do that, and you're going to see teams that are really, really peaking now have a better chance to plateau just because it's hard to hit a home run every year. But the good thing about it is if you're not peaking and you're plateauing, it's easier to get back to the top too than it would be if you had to grind through 2 or 3 years. And so it's good and not so good. It's just a different world.
Who is today's best of the game? 1 second. Got it at the buzzer. The best of the game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Check them out at bepestfree.com.
Who is going to be that pest, that player that gets underneath the Wildcats' skin tonight? I'm going to go with the senior forward, KJ Adams, as my guy. I think, again, this is a guy that's playing his final game. And 6-year guy, that's a long time to be in school and to have an opportunity to live through this program for that many years. He's a national champion and will go down as such. And I think tonight he's going to want to go out balling in front of his folks. So I'm going to go with KJ Adams being the guy that's going to be the pest tonight.
Well, you definitely stole my guy. I got it right here. The J-Dub said, written on the paper, KJ Adams, foul pressure. He's a tough inside guy, foul pressure. He went 9 for 10 from the free throw line, so he gets your bigs in foul trouble with his athleticism. Also a rim protector. He blocks shots. He's probably one of the better rim protectors that we played against this year. But I'm going to go with David Coit. Guys coming off the bench, good shooter, shifty. He's basically played starter minutes. And to me, he's a guy that we cannot underestimate because he can knock down shots and really create for others.
Yeah, speaking of guys you can't underestimate, my pest today has got to be A.J. Storr. And there's a simple reason for that. It's because last year he averaged 17 at Wisconsin. He got brought into Lawrence to be a difference maker. If you want to point at their record and one particular reason why, it's his lack of production. 15 minutes a game, 6 points per game. He hasn't really played much. However, the Jayhawks are 6-1 in games. He's only scored over 10 points this year 6 times, guys. 17 points a game was his average last year. The Jayhawks are 5-1 in games where he does score over 10. So this is a guy who got brought in to be a productive player in this rotation. Has it kind of been in the doghouse recently, but if he finds himself tonight, guys, it's the others. We'll talk about this in keys, but Kansas struggles when 1, 2, 3 guys are getting it going and the other guys aren't. They play well when 5 or 6 guys are in double figures, just the way Self's teams always have. A.J. Storr gets it going tonight. Guys, the Cats are in trouble. So that's my pest. A.J. Storr Jr. out of Rockford, Illinois.
All right, A.J. Storr. We've got K.J. Adams, and we've got David Coit as the 3 that'll get underneath the Wildcats' skin tonight.
Amazing stuff. That's today's Best of the Game. The Best of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Check them out at bepestfree.com.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is getting you closer to tip-off. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 2 of our pregame show is brought to you by Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Recon Auto Detail, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rocking K, a master plan community designed by nature, University Termite and Pest Control, And by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Your home for everything Arizona Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290, KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station.
Stars are shining down on Goldberg and Osborne. The Eagle has more than 2,200 five-star Google reviews from across Arizona, like these.
They go that extra mile to let you know they care. A wonderful experience.
They treat their clients like family, and their professionalism is the best in the business.
They made sure I got a great offer. Like a bulldog, they fought for me.
Well said, everyone. After any accident, remember, deferred is the word. Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THEEAGLE.com.
Broadway in Tucson presents the 20th anniversary season featuring 7 Tucson premieres, including Disney's Beauty and the Beast, Hell's Kitchen, Moulin Rouge, The Wiz, Back to the Future, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and more. Secure your signature season tickets today and get the best seats at the lowest prices. Visit BroadwayInTucson.com and secure your 2025-2026 season tickets today.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
For over 30 years, Tucson has been putting its trust in First Chiropractic for auto and on-the-job injuries. They're locally owned and a proud sponsor of the U of A radio broadcast. So if you've been injured, make the right choice. First
Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Honey, our yard looks like a jungle. It's full of weeds, and the neighbors are complaining, you know.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using just doesn't work. Not to mention, I don't have the time.
You know, it's not just the weeds. I'm also seeing ants and spiders, scorpion. I saw a scorpion, and I think there's a pack rat living in the garage.
I get it.
It's scary.
I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today and get rid of them all.
You're the best, honey.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or RoyalKia.com.
Motoring around one day, Bob heard all about it on the radio. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras for one low price, including valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere. But not at Jack Furrier's. Bob knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. As cliches would have it, just then Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 locations and without hesitation claimed his new set of tires, installed for one low price, thingies included.
Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Day in and day out, we're inundated with commercials asking to review your portfolio or telling you to get a second opinion. This is Natalie Fernandez with Meridian Wealth Management, and I want to share the advice I give people every day. Talk to 3 different advisors at 3 different firms. It's important to understand their differences and find someone you can trust. I want Meridian to be one of your 3, and then you will decide who is best for you. To learn more, call us at 719-1433 today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Donna Ogden Nation.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Dribble drive right. Pull it up there. Feed it high for Love. Squares. 3 ball straight away is good.
Caleb Love coming off a pretty solid performance against the Arizona State Sun Devils on senior night, his final game at McHale Center, and now he'll look to continue that on the road today against the Kansas Jayhawks. Final hour of Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Before we talk a little bit more about Caleb Love, let's let you know what we've got coming up in the final hour of our show.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
We will hear from Bill Self and Caleb Love, as well as Tommy Lloyd on his senior coming up here. Your best bets over at the Desert Diamond Casino Sportsbook. Arizona, a 4-point underdog today in Lawrence, Kansas. Over-under set today at 154.5. Your view from courtside brought to you by Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates. We'll head out to Lawrence and chat with Reggie Geary, Arizona guard, 1996, about today's game. He'll be on the call with Brian Jeffries. Keys to the game, starting lineups, all of that straight ahead as we get you closer and closer to tip-off, which is coming up at 2:30 Mountain Standard Time. Final day of Standard Time for the rest of the country. We, of course, live in Standard Time year-round here, but the clocks will be changing across the country starting tonight at midnight or 2 in the morning or whenever it is that they actually do that. Creates a lot of issues for us because we live on clocks that are set in the East, so, you know, a lot of extra work for us getting the clocks ready for the second phase of the year this past week. You were going to say something, I heard.
Maybe not for long.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I mean,
that's true, right?
20 states have voted to get rid of daylight savings times. 20 states. Arizona's, and Hawaii, right, are the only ones who don't. So,
and parts of Indiana, I think, also don't
right.
do it.
Used to be Oregon when I lived up there, but not anymore. But yeah, Arizona's the only full state. Yeah.
Right. We shall see. We shall see. Bill Self on Caleb Love understands that this young man's a very good basketball player and a threat to score every time he gets the basketball.
To be prepared to him scoring every time. I will tell you this: he's good off ball screens too, passing the ball. He's not a one-dimensional guy by any means, at least the way that we see it. But he's certainly a guy that can get his own shot pretty much when he wants to, which is rare in college basketball.
I'm sure Bill will try to maybe be bringing out the game plan that worked against Caleb in that national championship game back in 2022. He did not shoot the ball. Caleb did not very well that day. And Kansas would go on to beat North Carolina to win the national championship. Caleb Love talking about trusting his teammates and how his game has evolved as they have trusted in him and he has trusted in them.
We have so many, different tools and concepts to our games, and then, I believe in my teammates. My teammates, they know how to make plays, and I could put them in position to make plays as well. Without just me scoring. I could put them in position by, getting them ball where they want it in their spots. And I think that gives them confidence too, because them knowing that, regardless of my scoring, I'm definitely going to find them on the offensive end, and then I'm going to go get a stop on the defensive end as well. So we've definitely, I think we got past that where, not relying on my scoring and things like that. But, my teammates do trust in me and still believe in me that, regardless of, what the game is, how the game is going, that, I'm going to show up.
Caleb, a lot of us have talked about, the improvements you've made at the defensive end of the floor. But for you, what have you liked most about the steps you've taken on that end?
We know as a group, as the coaching staff, as a program, we know that defense is going to win, us a championship. And, we take pride on that end. And for me, taking pride in, guarding either the best player, best shooter, whatever the case may be, I'm going to definitely take pride in that. And, if that's what I got to do to, contribute to winning and if that's what's going to help us, get to where we want to get to, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, and we've talked, he's done a fabulous job of that, guys, in a number of games this season. Gabe Madison held him down. First time, I believe, against BYU, holding their top scorer down. He has been good in those instances. And then we ask him, like I said, to go to the other end and score 20 points tonight.
Yeah, that's how it goes. I mean, and for your senior guard, you expect those things. You're a two-way player. You're not just a guy that's an aggressive offensive player. You're a guy that leads by example on the other end of the court. And to me, that's the best way to lead a lot of the times. People talk about the guys that could, talk a good game, but it's something about being actually out there getting it done, especially when you're struggling on the offensive end of the court and your shot is not falling. Show your teammates that you're locked in and you're all in by doing those extra little things and taking on the assignments of guarding the best shooter or the best player, for the first 10 to 15 minutes of these games. And, he's been real good at it, especially games, when they were struggling.
Yeah, if you look at the college basketball landscape, it mirrors the NBA in that it's all perimeter oriented and the offense is way ahead of the defense. There's probably only 3 or 5 teams right now in America, guys, that win basketball games consistently based on their defense. So where am I going with this? Every single team you play is going to have guards who can put the ball in the basket. So if you're one of these guys, Kelvin, who's on the court for 35 minutes and you don't take your job seriously of staying in front of your man, you cannot win games anymore in college basketball. So it's so important for your team leaders especially to take that side of the ball so seriously and take it personal and make sure that their man isn't just getting by him time and time again. So Caleb, I think Caleb's always been an underrated defender, but it's very obvious if you just watch the games, especially this season, DK, he's really, really staying in front of those guys you just listed off. All had some of their worst games. And KJ gets a lot of credit. Jaden Bradley gets a lot of credit. But watch the film, guys. Caleb's on those guys a lot. He's been doing a great job individually on defense this year.
Today's game will feature 2 of the top 5 active leaders in career field goals made. You talk about Hunter Dickinson. He leads the active players. 1,096 made field goals. Caleb Love, 5th on that list at 871. Caleb also 5th among active players with 2,615 points. We mentioned KJ Adams a little bit earlier in the show, and we'll hear from him coming up a little bit later as well. But DeJuan Harris Jr. on the Kansas team is a guy who has played a little bit against Caleb Love. He, too, was on that 2022 national championship team and in that game.
Yeah, I played them in not college, but of course in college, a championship game. But in high school, I played them in the championship. And then I played them in like a different shootout tournament. They beat us that before, and then we ended up beating them in the championship. So we have some history. So
you have to assume he's going to shoot it if he's got the ball.
Yeah, that's what he do. That's what he do. He shoot it. So yeah, especially everybody wants to play good when they come to Allen. So the world's gonna be watching too. So, and this is his last away game, true away game for him. So of course he's gonna try to go out with a bang too. So.
Indeed, there's no question about that. That Caleb wants to perform on that stage. We'll see. Road games have not necessarily always been easy, especially this season. For him, but if he could find it today, that would be something to say for sure at Phog Allen Fieldhouse. So let's find out who's going to cash tickets today on this game at the Desert Diamond Casino.
Tucson, what are some of today's best bets? Will the Cats beat the spread? It's time to look at some of today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, Arizona underdog by 4 today on the road at Lawrence, Kansas. J-Dub still holds the advantage, +2. DK even, Kelvin -6. So Kelvin will let you go first on this one. Arizona +4 at Kansas.
Yeah, man, I think Kansas, as you guys said, don't lose at home on senior night. And I think they're a desperate team going into the finals. Going into the tournament play. I think they're going to bring it and play one of their best games of the season. And I just think it's going to be tough for us to cover that.
All right. So Kansas -4 then is the play for Kelvin Efon. JW Madden.
I agree completely. And every single, what was it, 30? This is the 32nd game. 31 games till now, I've always done this segment, guys, based on my head and the way I've approached, clinically breaking down the teams. But this is a heart game for me. I mean, it's been 13 years since these two teams have played. It's been a minute. But I would love to see Arizona play their best game of the year today. It's going to be really tough. Obviously, Phog Allen, we all know about that building, 70 years of tradition. They don't lose there on senior night 43 consecutive years. Maybe today's the day. And I think Arizona has not played their best ball this last stretch of 7 games. I think they're 3-4. But today, I would like to see today, guys, be the day where they put it all together defensively, offensively, and win this game in Lawrence by 6 or 7.
So Arizona +4 is the play for JW Madden. I think this is going to be a close game. I don't know that Arizona will win it, but I could see it being a 2 to 3 point game either way. So I think I'm going to take take Arizona on the plus points there as well to cover that game. Again, I don't know that they'll win it, but I think it's going to be a tight game on either side today. 154.5 is the line on this one. I think there's going to be scoring today for sure, so I'm going to go over.
Yeah, I'm definitely going over. I mean, if we've noticed what the trend has been the last few games. The refs are really getting in control, really getting people ready for the tournament. So I think with that, and both teams been shooting well from the free throw line, I say over.
All right, over for Kelvin, over for DK. What says JW Madden?
Yeah, I'll go over as well. I don't think too much over that number, but I think that the two teams both shoot fairly well, and I could see something like in the 160 area.
Okay, so everybody's taking the over on this game, and then it's DK and JW Madden taking the Wildcats in the 4, and Kelvin is laying the 4 with Kansas. Those are your best bets.
Those are today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Our guy Fred Scheib checks in from New Jersey, as he always does. His keys to the game: set double screens for Del Orso so he can shoot threes, tough D without fouls, and get to the rim and dunk the basketball. There you go. I like those, Fred, for sure. We'll have ours coming up for you just a little bit later. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Gameday, Wildcats, and the Kansas Jayhawks coming up at 2:30 at Phog Allen Fieldhouse. Pregame with Brian Jeffries and Reggie Geary in about 45 minutes. When we come back, we will, in fact, talk to Reggie Geary out at Phog Allen Fieldhouse and get his thoughts on today's game. It is your view from courtside, and that is next, along with Kelvin Efon and JW Madden. I'm David Kelly. It's Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day on Wildcats Radio 1290. Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball continues. This is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Hour 3 of the pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Aaron Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne, the Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Door and Gates, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, and by Meridian Wealth Management, wealth well managed, life well lived.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or royalkia.com.
If you have old windows, they are probably driving up your energy bills. Upgrade with new windows from the Window Depot. The Window Depot provides unbeatable value and a wide variety of in-stock and custom order windows to fit your style and budget. With our exclusive SI window brand made right here in the USA, you'll get a full lifetime warranty, including glass replacement, for ultimate peace of mind. Order online at thewindow.depot.com or visit a location near you and start your project today. Experience the best prices, the biggest inventory, only at the Window Depot.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Go Wildcats! As a new season starts, the Tucson Police Department bears down with the Tucson community. We are looking to build our team, and we need you. Interested in joining our starting lineup? Visit jointucsonpd.org. Join our team and score a great career. From our commissioned officers to our professional staff, the Tucson Police Department proudly stands behind the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down and apply today at jointucsonpd.org.
I love my weekend rides across Arizona. I travel with all the protection I need. Helmet, gloves, leathers, and the Eagle. Goldberg and Osborne. The Eagle fights hard to help injured riders across the state. Whether we're cruising through Carefree, slow riding in Sedona, or breezing through Bisbee, they find you doctors, manage medical bills, and get you back on your bike with the most money possible. Injured riding? The bird is the word. Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THE-EAGLE.com.
One day while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is the ultimate team when it comes to your home's comfort.
Thinking about replacing your heating and air system? It's free furnace season at Right Way.
These are some of the slowest months of the year. We have equipment in stock and our crews are available.
And we're including an 80% furnace absolutely free with the purchase of an air conditioning system.
And if that's not enough, we're offering 60 months no interest financing, tax credits up to $2,600, energy efficiency rebates, and 10-year parts and labor warranty.
Call or text 520-200-2422 today or visit rightwayac.com.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden. It's time now for us to take you down to front row of the arena. A view from the courtside is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, serving Southern Arizona for more than 25 years.
And let's go courtside to Phog Allen Fieldhouse. Reggie Gary is on the broadcast today with Brian Jeffries. You'll hear it right here on Wildcats Radio 1290 and K-Hit 107.5. And Reggie, first of all, I mean, yesterday was a really cold day here in Tucson. What's the weather like in Lawrence, Kansas?
Yeah, we got to Kansas. I got to Lawrence yesterday. A little breezy, a little cold. I guess it was snowing here last week, so we're fortunate. We're catching a little bit of sun, but probably about somewhere in the mid-50s, so a little chilly.
Now, had you ever been to Phog Allen Fieldhouse? Did you ever play there, or was yesterday the first time you'd had a chance to see the building?
Yeah, first time yesterday. We had played Kansas back in my time as a player at U of A, but played them on a neutral site out in Denver, and so never had the chance to come here. So this trip was definitely on my list of venues that I kind of wanted to experience, and definitely looking forward to today's game.
What kind of stands out about the building and what you saw?
Yeah, well, it's definitely a field house. It's more like a gym than an arena. You know, a lot of metal bleachers down low. Really colorful building. It's got kind of red and blue with some brown in the middle. But you could tell it's an older venue. They've remodeled it. They've done some really nice things with the concourse in their Hall of Fame. But I think it's a good basketball venue. And one thing I heard, it holds sound. So it's going to be very loud. It's going to be rocking. And I think it'll be good for both teams in terms of feeding off of.
Final regular season game for the Arizona Wildcats as they get set for the postseason. You know, there's been a lot of talk, Reggie, over the course maybe the last few weeks, just kind of if there's a kind of mid to late season wall that guys maybe hit before you get to these games that really matter. Do you believe in that? Do you see that maybe with this team, that these last few weeks have kind of been the ho-hum, let's get to the tournament already?
I'm sure there's a little bit of that. You kind of get into the dog days a little bit, but from my experience as a player and a coach, you know, that's when the good teams double down. And you know, Arizona, they've ran into some tough teams here late in the season playing well. I think they're better off for it. They've had some good wins as well. So, I mean, this is just this is kind of the normal flow of things, and you'll start seeing now teams starting to ratchet back up a little bit here at the end, going to the Big 12 tournament next week and the NCAA tournament. But, you know, it's very imperative that if you want to be at, you know, where you want to be at the end of the year, and that's, you know, a long run in the tournament or championships or whatever, you have to kind of double down when you have these days where you're thinking, man, I just want to get to the finish line. Like, keep your head down and just keep working.
We're chatting with Reggie Gary. It is our View from Courtside, brought to you by Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates. Kaiser has been serving Arizona for the past 25 years. Reggie, one of the things we've been kind of talking about a lot, obviously, is the three-point defense. This is a team that's kind of gone through phases, wasn't very good at the beginning of the year, got much better in that phase as the season went on, and has maybe taken a little bit of a step back the last few weeks in some games, obviously, at home against BYU and you know, on the road as well. What are you seeing in terms of how this team is defending the three? One of the things I've talked about is that, I mean, I know obviously KJ Lewis is this team's best defensive player, and what I'm seeing a lot with him is he'll sag into help mode in the middle a lot of times, leaving his shooter on the perimeter outside the arc. And that's areas where I'm seeing this team at times get beat with the three. And so I guess the question becomes, would you rather have KJ being that aggressive guy who tries to be everywhere defensively, or would you rather have him maybe not helping as much, staying on those three-point shooters a little bit more to try to defend that aspect of the defense?
Yeah, DK, I think that's a great question. You know, this Arizona defense is a good defense team, but it's very conservative. This is not an aggressive team. They don't call a lot of steals for the most part. And so, yeah, a lot of times they're kind of playing passing lanes, driving lanes, giving a little too much room on the strong side shooters, whether strong side corner shooters or kind of drive the kick. And I think teams are aware of that. And I think they realize that, hey, if you take 2 or 3 dribbles towards a gap, that Arizona defense, you know, are going to collapse on you a little bit. They're really going to concentrate on stopping penetration, and that's going to open up some shots. And so Arizona plays the percentages. They're very, very conservative, but there's nights when you play against a BYU or an Iowa State at home that's rolling, or even ASU who's playing free, where they're going to, you know, start getting to those, you know, 10 and 10-plus threes. And so it just makes your life more difficult. And so I like to err on the side of aggression. So I would love for KJ Lewis and everybody to kind of be kneecap to kneecap and be into guys' shorts and really kind of heating them up. But they've, you know, Arizona's made a decision this year. They're just going to kind of be conservative, play the percentages, and hope guys miss.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way it has flown this season in terms of this team defensively, and there are going to be games when guys, we saw it obviously the first time they played BYU. BYU didn't make shots in Provo. Unfortunately, they did make those shots in Tucson, and so you live or die with that. Obviously, one of the guys on the defensive side that we've talked a lot about that's really stepped up his game has been Caleb Love. And what have you seen from him in terms of a guy that knows a lot about playing defense? What have you most enjoyed about the way he's raised his game on that side of it?
Yeah, I give Caleb a lot of credit. I think he's took a lot of criticism over the years of just kind of being an offensive, just kind of a ball dominant player. But ever since he's been with us, and even this year, especially in the second part of the season, he's been more engaged. He's been more active. He's looked at it more as a challenge. I think as one of the leaders on the team, he understands the importance that his example sets. And so, yeah, he's been out there defending. He's taking on the challenges. And I think he understands, like we all do, if this team's going to make any kind of run next week in the Big 12 or an NCAA tournament after that, it's going to be on the defensive end. And so, offensively, he's going to get the looks. He's going to get the touches. He's going to do his thing on that end. It's when he's engaged on the defensive end that really helps set the tone with Jaden Bradley and KJ, and got Henry Basar and Toby on the back line. And so they really have some nice pieces. But as you know, DK, you got to have all five guys on the same page if you really want to be an elite team. So it's good he's buying in.
It's Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. I'm David Kelly, along with Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden. It is your view from courtside, and we're talking with Reggie Geary, Arizona basketball class of 1996, analyst on the broadcast, administrator as well within the athletics department. Final regular season game today in Lawrence, Kansas against the Kansas Jayhawks. There's obviously, Reggie, a mystique with this Kansas team. They've been one of the better programs in college basketball for many years. And this is a place where kids, I'm sure, dream about going and playing in Phog Allen Fieldhouse. How do you keep the nerves down when you're going into a place that you've seen on national TV, maybe that you've never been there, that you always thought, oh, it'd be cool to play there? How do you manage that if you're a player today?
Man, you just accept it. Nerves are part of the game. But I was nervous before every game I played. It was something. It's just something you embrace. It's why you come to Arizona. You come to these games to be nervous, to be in these environments that give you that are challenges. And so KU has a rich tradition going back as long as Arizona's, even further. And so guys come here to play in games like this. So I know everyone's looking forward to it. I saw Tommy yesterday at practice, and you could see he was taking it all in. Coach Robinson was back in the house. He had coached, for three national championships while he was an assistant here at KU. And so everyone was just kind of taking it in. And I think that it was good to get into the gym yesterday. We could kind of have that moment, because now today it's going to all be about business.
Yeah, you mentioned Steve Robinson, who's been on this staff, kind of one of those quiet assistants there. Has he talked much just about, what the philosophies were during those years than when he was on the staff there?
Not that I know of. I'm sure he does. I'm sure it's part of his DNA. I mean, all those years on the bench at Kansas and all the great experience he's had here. His kids were born here and were raised in this community. I was talking with one of his sons yesterday. Coach Robinson's just a wealth of knowledge. He's had so many great experiences. He's such a calming, influence on the team, and I'm sure with Coach Lloyd and staff. And so having someone like that, on your bench who's been through wars, who's been through national champions, it's only a huge advantage for the Cats.
It is our scouting report, and it's brought to you by Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates. Kaiser has been serving Arizona for more than 25 years. Reggie Geary joining us, class of 1996, analyst on the U of A radio broadcast. This is obviously one of those big trips. You guys got a lot of donors on this trip with you?
Yeah, we have a few donors with us that made the trip. People are flying in. A lot of people arrived into Kansas City that are driving up, and I think are going to stay around till next week for the Big 12 tournament. So, yeah, this was definitely a hot ticket. A lot of KU fans are in the hotel, that they're coming in from different parts of Kansas for this game. So this is something everyone had circled as one of these games, and I don't think it's going to disappoint. I know KU has struggled a little bit this year, coming off the fifth place of last year. And so, I think there's some apprehension there, but no one should be mistaken. This is a good KU team that is still dangerous. They still have some pieces. Hunter Dickinson is, he's a problem. 7'2", 265, fifth-year guy, scored over 2,600 points. And so he's really the anchor. He's kind of their focal point on the offensive end. And they have some other good players around him. Zeke Mayo is very much like Caleb Love. If he's streaky. He can get hot. And so they have, DeJuan Harris, a junior point guard. He's setting all the records here for assists and steals. So they have some pieces and some players. So make no mistake about it, this is going to be a difficult game. I think both fan bases understand that, and that's why they want to be here.
Yeah, and I understand they don't really lose a whole lot on senior day. It's not that right.
Yeah, I think I heard the word 41 years the last loss at a senior night. So Arizona should be loving that. An opportunity to kind of ruin their party a little bit, play the bad guy today. It's always kind of a fun role to be in. But, yeah, they don't lose a lot of games here. It's senior day. They're honoring 7 seniors. There really is a lot on the line for KU. Arizona is kind of stuck at that 3 spot unless something happens with that, the ASU Texas Tech game today. So they're kind of stuck at that 3. But KU, they could be anywhere between 6th and 9th depending on today's outcome. And so they have a lot to play for, and Arizona's going to need to match that type of intensity if they hope to be successful.
It's interesting, Reggie. I was talking a little bit earlier in the show with one of the writers from Kansas, and we were just talking about, obviously, all these teams have a lot of kids that have transferred in, 1 year, 2 year guys. Obviously, we have ours like Trey Townsend and Caleb Love and the like. And one of the things we were talking about is it difficult because Kansas obviously has had an issue closing games this season. They've had some leads late, and they just have not been able to finish those games. Do you believe it's harder for teams to finish and close when it's a bunch of guys maybe that aren't used to playing with each other over the course of a number of years?
Yeah, most definitely. I think the way teams are put together with the transfer portal and just not having played a number of years together, because, it is more difficult because winning's a habit. And closing out games and learning how to win, that takes time. And just because you've had some transfer portals or some big names or you made some moves you thought were good, doesn't necessarily equate to finishing out games, as you mentioned, because there just takes a knowledge that takes over time of experience of, who's going to take the shots and who's going to handle the basketball and what our role is and, how focused are we on some of these details. And for some teams, it never, for some teams like Arizona, you get off to a slow start in terms of learning how to win ball games and kind of figure things out and figure out your rhythm and chemistry. And then you look at a team like KU, and they've struggled throughout the season. I'm just trying to figure out who are their closers, and so yeah, to your point, it is more difficult nowadays.
What's Reggie Gary's top key for a Wildcats win today?
Yeah, great question. I think, obviously if Arizona offensively can find some rhythm here and really make this a high-scoring affair, that'll play in their favor. Caleb Love obviously plays a big part in that, not to put a lot of undue pressure on the young man, but at home he seems to play very well and shoot at a high efficient level, and on the road he struggled a little bit. So for him today, maybe to settle in, get off to a good start would be great. Rebounding the basketball is always huge. This is not a very good offensive rebounding team in KU. Arizona's number 1 in the Big 12. If that's something they can take advantage of in terms of getting second shots and dominating around the paint. And then I say lastly is just the free throw battle. KU and Arizona very similar in the fact they don't rely on a three-point shot very much. They shoot two-pointers at a high percentage, both teams. One area Arizona crushes KU is in free throw attempts, almost 265 free throws more on the year. And so that just means Arizona's just taking advantage of getting in the paint and getting to the bonus. And when they get there, they knock down shots. So free throws, and rebounding are 2 areas I'm really going to focus on.
All right, it is the Arizona Wildcats, number 24 in the country, and the Kansas Jayhawks. Tip-off is coming up at 2:30 with Brian Jeffries and Reggie Gary. Reggie, have a great call today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Reggie Gary, class of 1996, and that is your view from courtside.
We hope you enjoyed your view from courtside. It was brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, serving Southern Arizona for more than 25 years.
At University Termite and Pest Control, we handle all your pest problems. Maybe a few family ones, too.
Wait, you can even take care of my in-laws?
I always tell people we'll take care of anything, even in-laws. You just have to dig the hole.
Okay, but seriously, is it okay for our pets?
Absolutely. It's okay for pets, kids, anything you want to live, will live.
Call us today at University Termite and Pest Control. We'll squash those pests and enjoy it.
Hi, this is Peter Costa, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange and proud member of the Advisory Business Council with Meridian Wealth Management. One thing I've learned over 40 years on the floor is the value of a trusting relationship with your financial advisor. After all, everyone is a genius when the markets are going up, but when they drop, that's when the guidance of a professional is most important. For more information about Meridian, call 719-1433 or visit online at meridianwealthllc.com.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
If you're suffering from back pain and your physician is giving you a back brace or a pain pill or an injection and not explain the process of what you have and how to rehabilitate yourself, then there might be something missing. I'm Tom Corey. I'm a physiatrist here at Desert Sky Spine and Pain. If you're looking to find the root cause of your pain, any pain that's limiting your function, limiting the things that you want to do in life, call us at 520-229-2080 or find us on the web at desertskymedicine.com.
If you're feeling overwhelmed by the thought of a home remodel, don't stress. The Window Depot is here to help. At the Window Depot, we're your one-stop warehouse for everything you need for your next remodel. Windows? Check. Doors? Got it. Cabinets, countertops, and everything in between, you'll find it all here at the lowest prices. Whether it's a kitchen, bathroom, or whole home makeover, our experienced designers are ready to bring your dream home to life, all at unbeatable prices. Find a location near you or shop online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' Cay. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rockin' Cay with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockingCay.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or RoyalKia.com.
One day while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden.
Knocked away, saved by Bradley. Bradley, the bucket jam at home. Sees the parting of the ways as he gets that loose basketball, takes it with the tomahawk jam. Bradley across midcourt. Jaden fends off Best, gets into the paint, drives left, scoop it up and scoop it in. Just kind of a wild shot. He thought he got fouled, and now a technical going to be called on Bradley because he thought he got fouled.
Jaden Bradley had 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists against the Arizona State Sun Devils. And you heard him. He had a dunk in the game, but he also came up with a tee. We haven't seen Jaden dunk the ball a whole lot for the Wildcats this season, but he certainly can do that. Tommy Lloyd was asked if that could be more part of Jaden Bradley's game.
He's had a few dunks this year, hasn't he? 3, maybe. 3? Who's counting? You? Okay.
JB's been great. He's become a consummate point guard. And the cool thing about him is he's really settled in. He's great in high-level games. He's very trustworthy. And the cool thing about him is there's still room to grow. I know this, because I'm with him every day. So, I love Jaden. I mean, you talk about no drama, no issues, no nothing. That's that kid, and that's valuable. And so I appreciate him being one of the leaders of our team.
Apparently, I was not aware that CBS Sports basketball writer John Rothstein has a list of glue guys, and Jaden Bradley is one of those guys that he has on his list. Would you categorize him as a glue guy? I don't know that that's a term I would generally, think of like point guard per se. I would think maybe KJ Lewis more of a glue guy than Jaden Bradley. Just my thought.
In general, yeah, KJ, I think you would think of a guy who's, does a little bit of everything, comes off the bench, keeps everything together. That's kind of a glue guy. JB, to me, Kelvin, is a leader, flat out leader of the team, right? I mean, we don't see him over there barking at a lot of people, but the way he plays, his consistency, his steadiness, right? He's one of those guys out there. But I can understand the glue thing, too, because Jaden Bradley, Kelvin, gives you a little bit of everything. Great on-ball defender, great vision, and his mid-range and outside shooting has improved since he got on campus. So,
yeah, no, I can totally see where he's coming from with the glue guy thing. But, again, it's kind of tough when you do have a KJ on the team to give him that. But, yeah, I kind of agree with J-Dub, leader, a guy out there that's not necessarily being, extremely vocal, but he's out there doing the right things, kind of like what I said earlier about Caleb. He's out there doing all the right things by example, and guys, take to that. And just, and also being selfless, because when you have the ball in your hand as a point guard, you could easily jack up 3-point shots. He stayed within himself. He always taking shots that are within his range or getting to the bucket or finding his teammates. So you always love playing with a guy like that.
To me, guys, the consummate modern glue guy is Pelle Larsson, because you're talking about a guy who could give you 25 on a given night, or he might have a next game out, take 0 shots, and lock down, defend the other guy. Whatever it takes to get the win. I mean, that's what I can think of when I think of a glue guy.
A couple of other familiar names in terms of Big 12 that he has on that list. Juwan Roberts from Houston. He's got him on his Richie Saunders from BYU. Also on that list. So there you go. You've got KJ Lewis Jaden Bradley in terms of John Rothstein from CBS Sports. Now, Tommy, how about that technical that he got in the game?
I just know Jaden. Listen, Jaden is such a classy, quiet guy. If he's complaining to an official, in a way that the official feels like he should tee him up, my assumption is he probably got fouled. So that's just me knowing JB the way I know him. So, but hey, it happens, emotional game. And listen, this time of year, I know this. The refs do a great job overall. The coaches do a great job. The players do a great job. Everyone's a little bit tired and probably tired of each other. So we all kind of just need to take a step back. And you know what would be awesome? If we all had a weekend off and maybe a happy hour to kind of be normal people again, and then let's start the push for the postseason. But, you're at that point of the year where, hey, we've been on the officials hard, and, they're on us hard, and the players are out there playing hard, so it's a lot. And, so I had nothing but respect for the officials.
That's twice in the last week Tommy's brought up happy hour. So I don't know.
He's ready to go hang out a little bit.
It's late in the season, guys. Late in the season.
Got to get this final run going.
Oh, man. For sure. All right. This is going to be the first time that the Arizona Wildcats have played at Phog Allen Fieldhouse since the year before I got here. That would be 2007-8. So it was December of 2007-8. It was the Big 12 Pac-10 then challenge. The game went to overtime. The Jayhawks were 4th in the nation. Arizona took them to overtime at Phog Allen before losing 76-72. Chase Budinger led the Wildcats that day. He scored 27 points, but the Wildcats had 25 turnovers in that game. 7 by, I would assume, would be a freshman, Jared Bayless, that year.
07? Yeah. That's not my favorite stat, though, guys. My favorite stat is the last time these two teams played was in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And it was in 2010-11. It was actually in November 27th. The last time, Kelvin, the Kansas Jayhawks and Arizona Wildcats played was the day after Carter Bryant's 5th birthday. That's how long it's been since these two teams have played.
Wow. And yeah, that's going back some. I remember that game as well. That was an 87-79 win for the Kansas Jayhawks. This will be meeting number 13. Jayhawks lead the overall series 8-4 in the contest. And let's hear from DeJuan Harris Jr. on what he thinks of Arizona.
You see they score the ball at a high clip, so it's going to be a fast-paced game. What we should like playing in Allen, especially playing here, because we're going to need some type of energy playing at Allen against a team like this, because they're very athletic and they push the ball, score at a high level. So it's just going to be a really good game, and we got to come ready to play, because we already lost games in Allen before this year, and we can't keep adding on to it. And then it's senior night, so.
Yeah, and our guy Henry Greenstein, he gave the Jayhawks one extra contest. It's 41 is the number. 41 consecutive senior night wins for the Jayhawks at home. 9 of the 41, including 7 under Bill Self, have come against a ranked team like Arizona coming in today. 41. That would be something to end that streak right there today for Arizona.
Yeah, that would be huge, but huge opportunity for Kansas being able to get Arizona to come into their house at the end of the year when they've been struggling.
Yeah.
So, I just think that we kind of got set up.
Perfect game to get game to get up for.
Kind of got set up with that. I wish that would have been in Tucson.
All right, let's give you what we think the Wildcats need to do to win tonight.
Wildcats fans, our keys to the game are brought to you by Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealer that is different.
I just this popped up. I had to put this out here. Fastest Jayhawk to reach 1,000 points in his career. Anybody want to take a guess on that?
Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce, Danny Manning. How about Wilt Chamberlain? 34 games.
Well, he doesn't count.
Wilt Chamberlain, 34 games. Keys to the game. I'll give you mine first here. I think you're going to have to defend the paint. I think this is a Kansas team that's going to want to pound the ball inside to their bigs today. So it's going to be one of those games where Toby Awaka and Henry Vasar, Trey Townsend, those guys going to have to really buck up and play some defense, hold down Hunter Dickinson and the Kansas Bigs. So defend the paint, number one, I think, for Arizona. I think you're going to have to hit shots, whether that's just threes or twos. I want to see the Wildcats shoot 48%, or more in this game. I wouldn't mind them knocking down about 12 threes, but I would settle for 8 if that's the case. But you got to shoot at a high percentage tonight. You can lose on the boards, I think, in this game if you make shots and keep the turnovers down. If you go in and turn it over 25 times like the team did back in 2007, it's going to be a long, long day in Lawrence. Kelvin.
I think you have to box out and rebound. This is a team, one of those type of teams that throw the ball up and just try to go get it with the athletes that they have, especially K.D. Adams and the length of Hunter Dickinson. I think you have to try to one-shot possession. When these guys get their shot up, box out, get the rebound. K.J. Adams, to me, man, I think to me he's a guy that we really have to limit. I think his lob threat is huge. Anytime you double Dickinson, he looks right for K.J. Adams at the rim for the lob. I think we really need to take that away to have an opportunity to win. And the last one is don't get caught up in the atmosphere. Don't get caught up. Look to play through their runs. They're at home. They're going to play well. Understand it. Stay locked in and continue to fight to get to an opportunity to win at the end of this game.
J-Dub.
Yeah, I think very similar to you guys as usual. KYP, I think you can't let the others get off. This is a Kansas team that struggles when 2 or 3 guys score for them. They're successful when 5 or 6 guys get on the scores in the scorebook for them. So you got to stay with your man. Make sure that you're going to see a healthy diet of Hunter Dickinson on the block. Don't double him and leave wide open shooters. I'm not saying let him get his. I'm just saying don't give so much extra defensive attention to him that you can get confidence in those other guys. That's a long night. You got to turn them over. Pressure the ball handlers. 20 turnovers they had in their last game out versus the Houston Cougars. I'd like to see 12, 15 forced turnovers by the Arizona defense and play Tommy Lloyd basketball. I don't want to see hero ball tonight. I don't want to see, one pass, 6 dribbles, and a shot. I'd really like to see the guys passing up good shots for great shots, cut hard off ball, drive and kick. 18 or more assists is what I'm looking for the Cats tonight. And those are my keys for a huge win in Lawrence, Kansas versus the Jayhawks.
Huge win, says J-Dub. Those are your keys to the game.
Wildcat fans, those are our keys to the game. Brought to you by Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
All right, let's tell you about the 5 Tommy Lloyd's going to send out there today.
The foundation of a great basketball team begins with the starting lineup. Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Rocking K, a master plan community designed by nature.
Jaden Bradley starts at 1 guard, 6'3", out of Rochester, New York. 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals per contest. Caleb Love, 6'4", 5th year out of St. Louis, Missouri. 16 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds and 4 assists per ball game. He's shooting 87% from the line this season as Caleb Love. Anthony Delorso, 6'6", guard out of Melbourne, Australia, shoots 40%, although he's dipped a little bit under that at 39.8. He averages 8 points per ball game. Henry Vasar, 7-foot forward out of Estonia, 9 points and 5 rebounds per ball game. And you've got Toby Awaka, 6'8", forward out of Hyde Park, 9 points and 8 rebounds. That's 4th in the Big 12. That's going to wrap up our show. Coming up next, number 24, Arizona versus Kansas for Kelvin, for J-Dub. My name is David Kelly. We'll talk to you after the game. Bear down, Arizona.
Gritty, boys.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball continues. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 3 of the pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne, the Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Door and Gates, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, and by Meridian Wealth Management, wealth well managed, life well lived.
Accidents cause hassles as big as the Grand Canyon.
So we're hitting the road to spread the word about the bird.
The Eagle at Goldberg and Osborne.
Freeway fiasco in Flagstaff?
Hurt in Havasu?
Totaled in Tucson?
No worries. The Eagle has offices across the state. From Kingman
to Sierra Vista, where they fight hard to get you more.
So relax and ride on.
Because the bird is the word.
Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THEEAGLE.com.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet. We're in a state of disrepair.
It's still free furnace season. For a limited time until the last day of winter, you can get a free furnace with the purchase and installation of a qualifying HVAC system. Now is the time to start planning for the long, hot Tucson summer. Hurry, this deal won't last long. For fast, reliable, and honest service, call Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing at 520-492-0748 or picturoxcooling.com.
Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
JT Auto, where customers are family. Trust your vehicle to JT Auto professional and reliable automotive repair and maintenance services. JT Auto is conveniently located off Fort Lowell and Country Club. Open Monday through Friday. JT Auto is a full-service auto shop with satisfaction guaranteed, offering you the best in tires and wheels, auto repair, oil changes, computer diagnostics, suspension and brake service, and heating and AC. Bring your car to JT Auto, where customers are family. 623-7066. That's 623-7066.
Nobody covers your Cats like we do, with press conferences, coaches shows, and play-by-play.
Bounce pass, a walk, a slam it home.
We bring you all the stories, highlights, and analysis of your Arizona Wildcats. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
You wouldn't know it, but most financial advisors are put in a box. I'm Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I want to provide you a little insight about financial advisors. Most financial advisors have to sell what their company requires them to sell, and many advisors have to only adhere to what's called a suitability standard. A suitability standard is a limited standard of care, not requiring what's sold to be best, just suitable. Advisors with this loose standard often have limited investment and product selection. Trajan Wealth is held to a fiduciary standard, which is the highest standard of care in the advisory business. And that's just one of the many reasons we have billions of dollars under our care and attract clients from other advisors. Raise your standards today and call Trajan Wealth. Call 321-4100. That's 321-4100. Or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or RoyalKia.com.
Motoring around one day, Bob heard all about it on the radio. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras for one low price, including valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. Bob knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. As cliches would have it, just then Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 locations and without hesitation claimed his new set of tires, installed for one low price, thingies included.
Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Your home for everything Arizona Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290, KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station.